welcome to the Frankfurt Major for live coverage of Group C, where Team Secret will be looking to secure their place in the upper bracket of the main event today. We'll compete and complete the group stages and then head for a day off before we switch over to the live main event at the Frankfurt Messe for the final 6 days. That's right, you've got 7 days ahead of you. In turn, we'll switch to the format that you may already be familiar with from TI5. Double elimination will be on its way with those tricky to navigate lower bracket best of ones en route to finding out our first ever Dota 2 major champion. Yesterday, Groups A and B were completed, and while the TI champions came through, they certainly didn't have it all their own way. A sign of greatness, however, is how the teams win matches while not playing their best, and Evil Geniuses certainly proved that in Group A. As with our matches yesterday, the teams playing today will battle it out in dual tournament format. Simply put, win 2 and you're through. Though it should be noted, all the teams will advance to the main event, but 2 of them with a significant advantage as they go to the upper bracket, while the bottom 2 teams must face that deadly best of 1 in the lower half. It might still be early on, of course, but every game counts as the chase begins for their share of the $3 million prize pool, as you can see all 4 groups on screen right now. Got a lot of Dota 2 action over the next 10 days as we kick off the group stages live from Frankfurt today, of course, and we'll follow with our day off on Sunday before we head to the Messe, as we've already said. So, to today's matches, we'll be focusing on Group C here at the main desk, while bringing you updates from Group D throughout the day, of course, as well. And we'll start things off with one of the teams in great form heading into the Major. Team Secret, of course, going up against one of our replacement teams in the form of Newbie Young. Our desk today will be opened up by a collective brilliance of mind. Would you expect anything less? First up, our roving reporter, dancing extraordinaire, and a guy who apparently keeps them light, Coddle Guy. He's joined by the singularity now known as Malini, and alongside me once again is Denmark's foremost expert on hairstyles, the one and only Malk. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Very good.
Feel good?
I think even Synderen might have you beat in that title. Synderen has you beat in everything, Jacob.
He does.
Well,
really.
I'm an expert on the hairstyles, I just don't have them myself.
Right, that's good. Yeah, most experts have no idea how to do it themselves. That makes total sense to me, Jacob.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I was asked to come on the panel as an analyst.
Right.
So I said, sure, and
Okay.
I'll have whatever you're smoking. So,
All right, cool. Well, as long as you join in with the banter and basically just beat up
Mal.
Jacob.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's all you need to
I'm happy to be
out
next
of.
to him. Makes me look tan.
No, that was the flavor.
And it begins. So how you doing, Ben?
Pretty good.
Everything okay?
We get to see some secret action today.
Yes, we are.
And of course, Newbie Young, who Jacob probably knows something.
He was going off
Maybe
earlier about how much he
something
loved
about-
this team. He was looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
and
Can we
how you can break down
we just
all
take a
5
break for,
players
like-
in detail.
That was the flavor of yesterday. It
Right.
can't be me again. It has to be Paul or something.
No, it has to be you. That's the role we employed you for. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yesterday, of course, we did see some fantastic action, and we do have some highlights for you. If you weren't here yesterday, then you missed a bit of a treat in both Groups A and B. It was a terrific day. In particular, of course.
The battery stop, but Arteta's got his stun available. Mushi, Fissure available. Net's going to come in. They go for the purge as well as the catcher with the poison. Arteta, they're still trying to work through this chemical race, but Arteta, disruption. The Fidget's on the wrong side. They're keeping the poison up. Now Samel's going to come and join the fight with a huge crush from Universe. 3 heroes locked with.
Thrilled to watch Wee play as well, because a lot of people, you know, he started out as a huge like Meepo pub star, and then with even a little bit of Earth Spirit, so you think, ugh, this guy is, he's doing some of the worst out there. But then he shows he's got a Wind Ranger, and then he shows I'll even toy with an Ursa, and then by the grand final of Nanyang, he pulls out a Tiny. So his hero pool begins to develop more and more, and he's developing into quite a
Same with Misery. They're like, oh, can this guy even play off lane?
Yeah.
He's been playing support for 2 years, and then he owns people with his Broodmother. His Slardar kind of sets the trend for
He
everyone.
did have a rough beginning, but
Yep.
I was talking to Charlie, the manager of Evil Geniuses, yesterday. It's really nice to see a player like Misery finally getting the success that he's sort of owed. He's played 5 TIs. He's played all the roles in the game as well, now playing the offlane. He started out playing the carry position, turned over to a support role, also played the mid for CLG EU. So he's played every role, every hero imaginable. Then he turned to the offlane, now joining Secret. Had a bit of the first few rough weeks, and then he just became a monster, and then they won 3 tournaments.
I think you can also add to that Town, Cop, Medic,
Yeah, he's good
and
at Mafia.
as well, because he's a bit deadly at Mafia. I think the incredible thing as well is we've got a number of players playing for this Team Secret team who not everyone is fully aware of. They did have a former set of superstars. Some would argue they've got another set of superstars. One of those is Pylai Dai.
Well, the process of our team pretty much got found out that I think Jackie Mao and me kind of understood the meta game faster than everybody else. It might change that we might become weaker, or the teams were kind of like weaker right now or something like that. But at the end of the day, we got our niche and we started playing good, and that's pretty much it.
After TI, Cloud9 disbanded, and I took a while to just take it easy and chill. And I decided I wanted to play with a good captain, so I approached Poppy. And since I played with him last year, he was like willing to play with me again. And from there on out, it was Jackie again from Cloud9, and we found 2 more players to continue.
I mean, I don't really care what the people say, so I'm just gonna like think cleanly and just think anything that I really want to play and so on and so forth. Like any tournament that you wish to actually win. I don't care what the people say pretty much, or whoever thinks whatever they think about us.
We play more united in-game as well. One thing is outside the game, and one thing is that we have a captain, but inside the game too, people listen to each other more, and we back up together, we go in together and stuff like that. It's more united than in my previous team, Cloud9. It was very spread always. It was not very synergized. Whereas this team, I feel like when we play well, we're playing so in sync that, yeah, it's a pleasure to play with these guys.
There are probably good teams like from Europe that is coming also, like Alliance and OG, but I haven't played them on LAN that much. Like we played OG once and they were kind of threatening. So, I mean, I'm not really sure yet. I think OG will do really well. I think Alliance will do very well also, but if I would have to choose a Chinese team that is kind of like screwing with us, it has to be Vici Gaming and EG.
My expectations for this team was to win straight up. I've wanted to win badly the last 2 years, obviously always, but since I joined Cloud9, the willing to win has become bigger as my team has gotten better too. So my expectations have become bigger, and with Secret it didn't stop. Like I wanted to win more than ever, so it's good.
It is good indeed. It's good to see Misery in a very good team as well. We haven't talked about every single player on the team, particularly Jackie. Jacob, your thoughts?
He's up and down. There's some tournaments or some games where he's been almost game losing, and then some tournaments he just steps up and becomes one of the best carries in the world. And right now they're on a hot streak, and I think he can prove once and for all that he deserves taking titles.
It's nice to see him. Recently, I feel like he's been playing some of the best one position we've seen from him. And coming from a team like Cloud9, where he was also considered like their shot caller and drafter and captain, now he can take off some of those hats.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to coverage of the Frankfurt Major. We're here on stream number 4 yet again, and we've got another best of 3 for you guys coming up today. We've got Alliance versus eHome. Should be a pretty good series, Draskell.
Yeah, I can't wait, actually, because obviously this is the kickoff of Group C and D for today. We got through A and B yesterday. This is the wrap-up day of the group stages, more or less. And, I mean, these two teams, I think they're going to be a lot more evenly matched than a lot of people think. You were talking about how in the Summit 4 qualifiers, eHome bested LGD and a best of 5.
It was a close series, though. Won all 5 games. It was pretty back and forth.
And they also picked, like, everything. Like,
yes,
almost every single hero.
The diversity was insane. They saw a Wisp and a Baden and an Omni Knight all in the same series. Which is pretty cool.
I mean, I love Omni Knight and Abaddon. I've actually played both of them on my stream before we started casting. So there you go. I'm a fan of the strong off-lane heroes, I guess.
Yeah. I like offlane Abaddon. I feel like that's underloved. I've been playing it recently. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
Very manly offlane hero.
Yeah, it's a nice hero to dual lane with because you can just have any other like strength hero with you and you just run at people. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So Alliance eHome, who are you pegging as your favorite coming into this if you had to pick one?
This is a really hard one, actually. I mean, I want to say Alliance because I've seen more of them, but just because I've seen more of their play doesn't necessarily mean that they're the better team. I'm just kind of wondering what kind of game they're going to be bringing here because obviously neither of these teams have played yet.
Yes.
So this is the opening match. Like, our Alliance feeling good? Our eHome feeling good? We're going to have a really clear idea, I think, during the first game of who's going to be on here.
Yeah, and I love these kind of matchups that you really only get on LAN because these teams are just from completely different regions. It's not very often you get to see a Chinese team face off against a European team. So it makes it a little bit hard to predict. And this Alliance roster is a cool mix of really familiar faces and then My Nuts. So it looks like he's just changed his handle to Nuts, just straight Nuts, as he's tagged up here, just as an FYI in case you get confused.
I mean, that's cooler, though, right? Because then it's not like all the puns that you're making during mid-commentary, like when you're talking about...
cracking yourself up and play-by-play.
Oh, My Nuts go down because, you know, he dies or something
My
like
Nuts
that.
are making plays again. Oh, my. So, yeah, he's just nuts now. He's crazy in the coconut. But he's been around the scene for a long time. Like, he was a North player for a while, but... he hasn't played in nearly as many tournaments on this scale relative to the other 4 members of the team. So I wonder if that pressure is going to get to him. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
No?
I think when you have as much games played as he does, you don't really get that way anymore.
Okay.
Like, you imagine the first time you ever do a LAN event, you're really nervous, right? Like, the first TI that I went to, TI3, I was casting main stage, and pretty much up until that point, I never did a LAN at all.
Right.
So I went from not having done a LAN to TI, and I was terrified. Like, I was like... every single day I'm like, Jesus, I hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't mess up. And then obviously you do it a few times and then it gets less and less scary. So I'm sure that with the rest of the team around him, like all very experienced players, of course, it's pretty much old Alliance minus EGM plus My Nuts.
Yep.
Like that's pretty much all it is. So I think when he's surrounded by a team like that, he'll do just fine.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Both these teams have interesting kind of hero pools. I keep thinking about the S4 Batrider mid. Alliance really the only team that's been... has done that on this patch quite a bit. I guess they still have been running that, though, not as much as they were at the beginning of the patch.
Some people pick Batrider here and there, but it's not one of the more prevalent heroes that we see.
And certainly not mid. That was really what made it special. The S4, like, driving force Batrider.
I think Bulldog just doesn't like the hero. I know he can play it because he has in the past. Like, he's played an offlane back, you know, obviously TI3 era, he played that Infurion quite a bit.
Right.
But it was more of maybe he just feels he's suited to better or different heroes and he doesn't really like playing the way Bat is. And the other thing too is if you think about how Alliance functions, S4 is their captain and mid player. So he's shot calling as Batrider, which I think is a really nice thing to have because then you can say, okay, look, we're going on this target, I'm pulling him out, let's jump, you know, let's smoke behind me or, you know, something like that. So I think it's easier to play S4's game if you give him initiation heroes or something that kind of sets the pace for the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The simple controllers. The Puck is another one that comes to mind. Of course, Puck is not that strong on this patch, but fits the bill in that same kind of manner. Once he gets the Blink Dagger, he can kind of leave his lane, control the game, and help out everywhere else. Looks like we do have the coin flip completed here. Alliance won. They chose first pick, and it looks like eHome have chosen Radiant over Dire. So.
Not really surprising.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and it seems like first pick is really what most
everyone
teams
wants
are going after.
Yeah, except for Unknown.
Yes.
Unknown had the option of first pick or Radiant, and they actually chose Radiant, which is a little bit... I guess it's kind of draft dependent. Like, if you have an idea going into a game where it really only works on Radiant, then I can totally see you doing that. Like, if you want to try to get your hands on Shadow Fiend, for example. I don't think you would. I think Alliance probably just banned SF in the first 2.
And yesterday he was banned out in both games as well right away.
I think Dire, if you're Dire and you don't have first pick, then you kind of have to ban Shadow Fiend, I feel.
Are there any scenarios on this patch, really, that come to mind where having second pick is advantageous because you can get 2 heroes right in a row? You can pick whatever kind of combo. Like yesterday we saw Gyro, Winter Wyvern, for example, a pretty strong opening duo.
I mean, second pick is usually going to be Dire, right?
More often than not.
Yeah, so I think there is some kind of advantage to it if you see something that is very telling in the first 2. The problem is it's not often that happens anymore. So say, for example, somebody picks something like a Darkseer. It's like, okay, well, you first pick Darkseer. Maybe we get our hands on like a decent mid hero and then another carry, but you haven't really given any big information away.
Right.
That's what makes drafting so hard. So I still think that first pick, it's kind of, again, what your plan is when you're coming in. If you want to first pick something that sets the pace for the game, and it's like, okay, we get a first pick SF, or, you know, we get a first pick anything, really. It just depends on what the captain is feeling for that particular game.
Right. I mean, Wisp combos are one thing that you can
Yeah,
get into.
yeah.
If you really want Tiny Wisp or something like that, you can grab it.
I guess
for yourself.
Alliance, I wonder if eHome just ban Wisp.
We talked about this yesterday as well, and I was surprised in the first game where it was completely left alone. I don't think that'll happen in this series. Both teams are super experienced with Wisp.
That's true.
And I feel like it's
Most teams are nowadays.
Yeah, some more than others, though. I would be surprised if Alliance get their hands on it.
Alliance were one of the teams, I think, who were like the original Wisp teams.
Well, and especially because they really like that global presence. The Bulldog Furion, the kind of Bat Rider isn't quite global, but very mobile, that kind of stuff.
Now, we are into the
They've
draft,
got a lot of
by the way.
tools. And yeah, we've got a game 1 draft here. Man, everything's starting on time this tournament, Draskell. I'm loving it.
I'm a fan. I
like
think there was actually a Reddit post on it saying, congratulations, you know,
It had a
ESL
slightly
and
backhanded tone, but still, the point is the same, you know.
I can get behind things starting on time and very little technical issues. That is probably just about the best thing that's happened so far, I think. I mean, obviously the games have been really fun to watch, and the Vega OG series yesterday was phenomenal. If you didn't get a chance to see that, went to the full 3 games.
I watched Game 3 last night.
Yeah,
actually.
it was a very, very good series. So highly recommend people at home watch that if you didn't get a chance to already. But
I saw a lot of tweets saying that was some of the best Dota people have seen in a while.
yeah, it was a really, really good series. I was a big fan. I think it was Kessa by Will and Cap.
Yep.
So ban phase coming through here. Alliance actually letting the potential Radiant Shadow Fiend go, or do they want to just deny pick it for themselves? I don't really see Shadow Fiend as an S4 hero, though.
No.
You know what I mean? That he's like one of the few mid players who I don't look at him and think that he plays SF. Not that he's incapable of doing it, but more because what we were talking about before and how they usually like to play with him being the shot caller.
It just doesn't fit his style.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. And interesting to see Alliance ban out the Undying. That's, I mean, a hero we've seen getting some love, but not quite a first pick, first ban worthy hero, at least.
He's kind of been
Not as
second
much that
phase
I've seen.
material,
Yeah.
I think, most of the time. Like, not even in the first 2 anymore, whereas before in this patch, he was very highly prioritized to a point where it was like first pick or bust on the Undying. So here we go. Alliance now have their choice. I mean, they can go Wisp. They can go for any kind of lane dominator that they want to. They can even get their hands on Shadow Fiend, which, again, I kind of doubt that they would actually do.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little strange to let it through and just kind of hand it over to eHome. Well, there's the first pick
there's
Wisp,
the
so...
yeah.
Well,
So this has to be like Shadow Fiend +1, right? Because Shadow Fiend is actually okay against most Wisp combinations. So like you could go Gyro Dazzle, you could go Shadow Fiend Dazzle, you can open like Darkseer plus Shadow Fiend. Like
they could try that Gyro Winter Wyvern that I brought up. They actually played that in that last best of 5 against
Did they?
LGD in one
Okay.
of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know if they opened with it,
There are
but
so many strong openings right now, though, from eHome. That's the nice thing about letting heroes like Shadow Fiend through the pool, and already seeing the Tusk banned out on the side of eHome. That actually makes the Shadow Fiend pick even stronger, because there's less of a potential of a roaming hero who kind of has that like straight up hard initiation on your SF. So we'll see if CTY is going to get his hands on that, or if they want to go a different route.
eHome also do like to play Disruptor, not only against the Wisp, but just in general. It's one of the heroes in their arsenal, so something they could consider. Probably not a first phase pickup here, though. Alliance could be likely to ban it out in the second phase.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day of Dota 2 action here at the Frankfurt Majors. I'm Gods doing remote coverage from the BTS studio, and joining me is Winter for one best of 3 today. We've got Mineski taking on CDEC Gaming, your TI5 runners-up, taking on the Southeast Asian qualifier winner Mineski. Winter, how are you doing today?
I am fine, thank you.
That's
Looking forward to see how Mineski fares in the event.
Yes. Now, as a SCA Dota player yourself, how good a chance do you give Mineski here?
I think they will do much better from Nanyang. I feel they have actually learned a lot from Nanyang. They were fairly inexperienced, but they do have very good strategies and drafts. Mostly when I watch their games, they just make a lot of inexperienced mistakes because they are not very experienced as a team on a big LAN event. So after Nanyang, I think they should be improving.
Okay.
So we'll see what they actually bring to the table in this event.
All right, well, we're going to find out what they bring to the table. The draft has begun, guys. Game 1, it is a best of 3. Going to hop right into it as Mineski take on CDEC. You mentioned their team that seems to be pretty solid all in all, and they're going to start things off with the first pick Slaughter, banning out the Doom and Undying. CDEC banning out the Queen of Pain and Tusk. We'll see what the TI5 runner-ups have to bring to the table themselves, as Spirit Breaker makes an appearance early on here. What do you feel like, as far as Mineski as a team go? I mean, what normally is their playstyle? Like, what are the kind of strategies where you feel they're gonna have the best chance at beating CDEC?
They just mostly pick heroes that can win their lanes very well. And on Radiant side, I think they would prefer to have also the Shadow Fiend, Radiant Shadow Fiend, plus the Slada. And they would also have like the Night Stalker when they have SF to protect him and do stacks. Those are the heroes that they are very comfortable with. They always have a support that roams around. Like Jesse Wash always plays the Bounty or NS, so he makes sure that the mid lane is safe. But because they have Slada this game, maybe they will lean towards a Wind Ranger. I see them doing that a lot as well. Those are the few combinations that go very well with Slada, either TA, SF, or Wind Ranger.
Well,
all are very good this game.
Yeah, Cuckoo is pretty insane on the Wind Range. I remember last time seeing him play it during Nanyang as well as the qualifiers. He was very impressive on that hero. So maybe something he's more comfortable on compared to the Shadow Fiend. I think even Jay sometimes play, but they go for neither option. They actually pick up Winter Wyvern, another hero Mineski really leaned towards. They were actually, like, during Nanyang first picking this hero a lot. So
yeah, this hero is still very, very strong right now. And with the Slada, it means they don't really need the Darkseid anymore. So Slada would be their position 3. I think during Nanyang, they use Slada a lot more on their safe lane, and they're adjusting right now. I think Slada fits more towards the off lane position. The more you play, the more you understand that a hero like Slada doesn't really need free farm to do his job. He just needs levels, and he runs around, and he gets his goal by assisting his team in the early stages during the laning phase because he runs around very quickly with sprint. So he doesn't really need the safe lane farm.
Okay. It's really interesting to see. I mean, you mentioned the SF, the Wind Ranger, as the mid kind of heroes. It's kind of like the first time I feel like during... Like yesterday, SF was first pick or first ban in almost all games, especially for teams when they're on the Radiant side. So it's really curious to see it not picked up at all between these two teams.
And CDEC are very worried about the Huskar because Huskar counters Gyrocopter very well, and they have Wyvern. So Huskar plus Wyvern could be a very troublesome combination, and CDEC feels like from the draft perspective, I feel like they feel like they are the stronger team as a whole, and they don't really want to lose to cheese strategies like a Huskar, Brood, or anything like that.
They'd rather give up something standard like an SF or Wind Ranger and just play a more typical Dota game. So.
SF is like maybe fine because they have SB, so they can pressure the SF a lot in the early lanes. Maybe that's what they feel more comfortable with giving away. But I think Wind Ranger is probably harder to deal with because SB can't really gang Wind Ranger that well in the laning phase, and Wind Ranger plus Slada is also very, very scary.
All right, well, we'll see if that's a hero Mineski decide to go for. I mean, they've got plenty of options for the mid lane.
Yeah, ideally they want to have NS and Wind Ranger, or Wind Ranger or SF, one of those heroes, plus NS.
Yeah.
I think those are the heroes they are ideally looking to go for. And CDEC responds with their typical, like on the Dire side, they go for the Visage a lot when they have Gyrocopter or Ember. So when the Gyro or Ember goes for the tempo, when they TP around with their ultimates, Visage can get the free farm in the lane and you get levels.
Well, there's Shadow Fiend, so it's going to be the SF over the Wind Ranger. And a Lina follow-up for CDEC, most likely Shiki's hero for the mid lane, something they were ready to pick as a...
This is definitely Shiki's hero. SB is mostly played as a support when they run a lineup like this, and you pressure the SF a lot with this type of lineup. But they still have the opportunity to go for like the NS if they want to actually help protect the SF and do stacks. For Bench is actually kind of... I think I didn't really see them pick Bench a lot during the last couple series that they played.
Huh. I mean, it helps with the swap later on, but I feel like in the early game, this does not help protect the Shadow Fiend much at all.
Yeah, usually with this draft, they will go for a Night Stalker for Jesse Wash or a Bounty Hunter. The Bench, this game, you don't really cancel. Like, usually you see Bench against a Bat Rider, that's very common, or Chronosphere, or even sometimes against a Clockwork, but it's very rare that you see Bench appear in this type of game. It's more just the synergy between the heroes that they have a lot of minus armor.
But it's very much like they have minus armor and tons of physical damage without the Venge pick. I feel like, yes, Venge makes them hit harder and do more damage, but damage wasn't something they were lacking. They were lacking more teamfight or something to protect the Shadow Fiend.
They were lacking more protecting the Shadow Fiend part. They needed to secure their lanes because SB and Lina can be very aggressive, and the tempo for CDEC will be very, very fast this game because of the gyrocopter. And even CDEC feels like the NS could be a... But that's a weird ban, right? Because when you see the Venge and the Wyvern, unless you're thinking that the Venge is a carry, that's why they ban the NS.
That's true. Oh, well, it could be a Slada safe lane and Night Stalker off.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that too. Yeah, that too. But that's very rare.
Yeah, maybe it is going to be a core Venge as well, because considering you've got a Slada offlane and SF mid, you don't need you can go for that, like, VP-style safe lane farming Venge and not expect to have a whole lot of items. Just go for a drums, a 4-staff, play it more like a just utility Venge.
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see what Mineski have in mind.
For the last pick, CDEC can either do offlaner or just pick another support and run SB as offlaner. But I think SB would be 90% chance offlaner as their support, and they would pick an offlaner because most of the teams recently have been just running SB as an exclusive position 4. He just works very well with little levels, and you don't really need so much farm.
Speaking of odd bans, odd last ban onto the Ember, something that it would have been hard to fit into the CDEC draft with the gyro picked up.
They were probably thinking the SB is a core, and then, I don't know, with Lina, SB Lina, offlane, Visage, gyro, same thing.
It would be an Ember mid, and well, CDC say last pick Brood.
Well, this is a very good, very, very good Brood game, and I think I mentioned this a lot to you. When you have SB and Brood together, the Brood is always going to have a very good game. Because there's always going to be one hero that's going to go to the Brood's lane easily to unbox or uncage the Brood mother from the laning phase. So this Brood is going to wreck house, I feel. Like, if Venge and Wyvern are ran as supports, even if it doesn't matter, even if Venge is the core, the Brood is still going to have a very good time.
How do you feel about the Brood plus Gyrocopter? Because we've had this another conversation where the Brood and Gyro in the same draft sometimes work against each other, because Gyro wants to TP down to the offlane and fight lots, whereas Brood wants to split up and kind of split push a bit more. Do you feel like these two heroes can work together well enough?
Yeah, they can. Like, Brood Mother needs a gang to happen in the laning phase, like I mentioned, SB, but Gyro could also do that. I think they can still work together. It's a bit more different in the sense that because one is looking to team fight, the other is looking to red and speed push, right? But if you can use it to win the laning phase with that first rotation from Gyrocopter, you can just take control of the enemy jungle and control the whole map. And we've seen lately the Brood players have been using Brood as a combat Brood more. You just go BKB as stat items and you join the team fights instead of, team fight happening, I push towers. You don't see that so much nowadays.
Well, we'll see what the anti-Brood options are going to be. Mineski, you've got a Slaughter with amp damage, but you've got to be able to catch and find him.
I mean, they have good catch for the Brood later with the Slaughter, but getting past the laning phase is the problem now because they are going to struggle in the laning phase.
Yeah. I've seen Venge actually do okay versus Brood very early on in the lane. I think it was PPD. I think it was during like the recent TI as like a Venge, because you've got the Howl of Terror. So you hit the Brood with it and do like a decent amount of damage to him.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. Bristle last pick.
Minus armor. Minus armor is real.
I mean, that's a strong fighting carry to add to your draft, as well as something that can actually go toe-to-toe with the Brood and lane a bit better.
And it helps the lane very, very much for the supports against the Brood. The supports are not so pressured to help the Bristleback deal with the Brood, because Bristleback is more or less self-sustained against the Brood. And this is going to put a lot of pressure on the SB and the Gyro. They need to make a very timely rotations to help the Brood Mother. I think Brook can still do like okay in terms of getting levels. Venge, Wyvern, as long as you get to level 4, like level 3, level 4, level 5, and you make a rotation with either the SB or the Gyro or both of them coming down together, you can still break the lane apart and take the tier 1. That's the tempo that the Brood is going to look to go and make happen in this game.
All right, well, it's a last pick Brood for CDEC, the TI5 runner-ups, taking on, well, possibly the SEA Hope right now, with Fnatic off to a bad start. They're already in the lower bracket after their day 1, unable to win a series, although they did take a game off of EG, so not all hope is lost there. But Mineski, the Filipino Hope, going to be starting things off with Rio, TPing to the offlane on Slada. Will he get scattered out? Gyro aggressive, TP'd up here as well. Drops a lane ward. I don't think he's going to see this one, and it doesn't look like he'll catch the ward planted early by Ryu. So that's a nice little early observer ward by Ryu. Gyrocopter not going to scout that one out.
Sometimes you see when the Slada players getting sprint at level 1 just to make sure that they go unscouted with this ward placement.
Okay. It will be both teams, it looks like, gunning for their... Well, at least Mineski gunning for their safe lane rune. CDC, no Gyrocopter down here. Are they going to look to contest this? Like
they are really strong at level 1. They are very strong at level 1 with the SB and the Visage. If they want to get the Gyro down here, they are most certainly going to secure any side of the rune.
30 seconds to battle.
But it looks like they're just going to go for the safe bet, like 1 rune a piece, most likely.
And Slada's seen the Gyrocopter, so Mineski know what CDC are up to. Very interesting first web as well, over the Roche pit. That...
Oh, did he use it to just run down? Wow, okay, this is rather unusual.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about. Where's his other web? Oh, he's about to have a second web. Okay, so he's going to put the second one in lane. The bounty rune's picked up that. I mean, I guess it's like a quick escape should he need it if they're trying to dive him near the tower, but there's... I mean, that's really like... I'm stretching things here, Winter, to try and figure out what he's trying to do with this web.
I'm not sure as well. Maybe he just felt a bit threatened there. I don't know. But overall, I think if you look at both teams' lineups, like for Mineski, if they can actually get to the late game, their heroes are extremely powerful in late game. They're really, really good heroes they're dealing with. Like Gyro can't stand and fight against those heroes. He's just gonna die. So for CDEC, they need to make sure that they win their lanes, they snowball, they make their quick rotations, their classic signature rotations, Gyrocopter with ultimate running around so they give space for the Visage to get level 6. They need to hit all these timings, and SB are obviously helping the Brood as well. So or the mid lane to get kills. Yep. Those are the critical things that CDEC needs to make happen for them to actually win and take control of the mid game, so they can actually get Roshan as well.
Well, for now, Garda just going to be chilling around the top lane, possibly seeing if Slada's going to get a bit too aggressive in lane and create any kill opportunities. For the mid lane, it will be Mineski with the +1 in the form of the Winter Wyvern, stacking the jungle for the SF, as well as offering some harass onto Shiki's Lina, who will be faring out an early salve here, definitely in need with the harass coming out from that Arctic burn. And Brood, kind of as you mentioned, should be able to do just fine in lane, at least as far as getting experience against the Bristleback and Revenge.
Wow, dude, he has 6 CS so far. Oh,
wow.
That's actually pretty good.
They didn't have any sentry in lane. They picked up a dust later on, but yeah, Mineski went no sentries, just...
Did they devoid it or something? I thought they had sentries. Wyvern had one. So
maybe no, Brood must have been out of decent. Brood had a sentry in lane as well, so I imagine the Brood must have tangoed it before they could do anything about it.
Actually, one more sentry is top.
Okay, so no, there was no sentry bottom, it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as Brood reaches that level, that mark where I was talking about, level 3, level 4 to level 5, those are the timings that the SB can just come into the lane to help get kills.
Yep. Well, he's rotating around. He's got a double damage rune near the mid lane here.
Yeah. A lot of their early game is going to sit on Garda, how he actually makes rotations and how successful he is.
Okay. We're possibly about to find out. Bimbo pushes forward a bit. Here comes the charge. Leans to back it up, and there will be an Arctic burn here. But Bimbo in trouble. He gets stunned up, and first blood picked up.
Oh my god, that stun. That stun was so good on 2 heroes, and he's going to get another. Oh my god, Shiki. Well played there with his light strike array. Got 2 heroes. He was going to get the Cold Embrace onto SF. But SF would probably still die, but at least the Wyvern wouldn't go down there. That stun was so good.
Well, that's you talked about the Spirit Breaker early rotations, and he comes up big early on.
They were even anticipating that because they had a ward. They saw the SB running away from the lane, so they knew SB was up to something.
What they
But
didn't
it's
know
still,
was the
like,
double
the
damage.
Wyvern was ready.
The double damage
Yeah.
also made the difference there.
True, but they still were ready for that gank, so kind of didn't expect it to go so badly.
Yeah.
For them, but yet again, it's SF Radiant side, so easy catch up, even if he falls behind.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not like a really big problem for him.
Nope. An off-lane Brood already farmed up a Soul Ring, though, so this is 10 CS on an off-lane Brood against what is a dual lane.
Yeah.
Bristleback.
And let's see.
Okay, has mana
Let's
now.
see whether they come and help him because the spider has a lot of spidering. Like Brood has a lot of spiderings ready for a gank to happen. So SB can potentially help the Brood get a kill here.
SB has Boots and Orb of Venom, and
Oh,
a
he's
fast level
rich.
3. Yeah, he's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this Spirit Breaker with the farm he's got and the level 3 can cause a lot of problems anywhere on the map. Be it
He
the
doesn't
Shadow
need
Fiend
to
or
go
the
back
off
top
lane.
anymore. He just needs to focus on shutting down the mid lane and the off lane. I mean, their safe lane, Mineski's safe lane right now. So we'll see where he actually makes his next move. It's always going to be falling on his hands, deciding how the tempo of the game will go as the SB this game.
Yeah. He's going to do some stacking himself, although he misses that one. But making sure that Shiki has some additional farm as well to himself.
Well, the lane is really going so well for the Brood. He's getting so much from the lane, even a lot of CS, not only experience. I was thinking that maybe, okay, he's going to get experience, but not that much of creeps, but he's getting so much, and the charge is coming in with a huge stack of spidlings, but it's a Bristol, though. It's not an easy kill.
Yeah, he's level 5 here as well, so could just look to turn his back and spam those quills. Has bottle
Doesn't
charges
have
as
mana.
well. This could backfire. They've got to be a bit careful here. Another quill spray is going to clip the Spiderling's Cuckoo. Not bottling just yet, wanting to make sure it doesn't get cancelled.
That was not good. They gave him a lot of experience because he killed a bunch of spidlings and he's level 6 now.
I mean, this is going okay for the Bristleback. Same time, Brood getting a lot more of this lane than you'd normally expect. Here comes a smoke towards top. Mineski rotating both supports in what's a pretty unexpected fashion. I'd say aggressive is still just
the
level
gyro.
5. Yep, it's pre-level 6 as well. There's no cooldown to worry about. Really nice gank from Mineski, and
Wow, this is a really good rotation because before the gyro reaches 6, this is how CDEC wants to play their game.
Yeah.
And they make a gank to kill and slow down their tempo.
this is like some old school way of playing, like with dual hero support rotations, like very kind of SEA style,
Yeah.
where you just two-man smoke your 2 supports and just roam around the map. Something you don't see very much anymore.
Because it's very risky because you pay a huge price if you don't get the gank because you waste
Speaking
the
of
time
ganks,
of 2
bottom
heroes.
lane, Gyro's TP'd in, and Cuckoo could be in some trouble here. He's turned his back, but the Rocket Barrage can do a lot of damage. He's looking to bring down XE with him, but will not do so. Very close to getting the Brood. One more quill was all that he needed.
Dire's bottom tower
Aggressive,
is under attack.
comes in with the phase boots and helps clean up Bristle.
Yeah, that was also a rotation that you don't really expect from the gyro this early on because he doesn't have cooldown yet, and that was a very key kill because it's going to allow Brood to farm
Top
a
lane,
lot
Q
more.
in some trouble. Got a lot of minus armor here. And as a result, Q, I think he was going to go down here. 1 or 2 more right clicks, they'll get the kill. Both teams
You see
rotating
how
a lot
you
early
see
on.
how both teams making very similar movements to their offlane. They are trying to help their offlane and pressure the opponent's safe lane.
Oh, mid lane though. Talk about the off lane, so let's take a look at the mid lane. Jay getting ganked up here. LSA, call down. There's going to be a lot of damage onto him. Laguna even going to get used, and Jules shows up and feeds away his life as well. 2 quick kills go CDC's way.
Yeah, they managed to place a ward down and get a kill on SF. So that was all they needed and all they wanted to do with that movement.
The Spirit Breaker
So that was
Lena
really
just
good
puts
play.
so much pressure onto the SF because you can't even rely on the Cold Embrace is useless because you just set up the Lena's spells. And this is a level 8 Lena already, so SF just needs all the HP he can get to survive these ganks coming his way.
Oh, XZ bottom lane. Oh my god, he's dead.
What? Solo killed by the Bristle. That was...
He walked out of his web and he just got chased down and he didn't have webs on ready.
Okay.
So that was a big misplay there. I think he was using courier or something. He was buying stuff, I'm not sure. But he wasn't paying attention to his hero there.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Gonna be a smoke coming out from Mineski. They're making a move towards mid, and talked about the Slider and how you don't have to get that blink anymore. It's just a level 5 Slider, but
yeah,
we'll have the sprint. It is a phase boost Lena though. This is a little bit of extra boost into movement speed that could save Shiki's life potentially. I believe the The Ward did also scout out at least the Wyvern here before the Wyvern backed off for the smoke.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they try to steal the stack with the SF now. I think that's the next best thing they can get from this if they don't get a
stack.
kill.
Yeah, they're bringing in Jay, and with 4 heroes here, probably something they can do unless Gyrocopter rocks up and ruins the fun for them. But Gyrocopter headed towards bottom. Not willing to risk going for the stacks here. They're going to grab the double damage rune first. Cuckoo gets the bottom rune. Both teams going for these aggressive smokes into the enemy jungle as Mineski looking
Oh, they're going to get the Bristol back.
Not the
Bristol back in trouble.
Still a little bit healthy here. Nope. Okay, there we go. Enough nukes come in. Even Lena rotating.
Way too many heroes there.
Yeah. And they steal the stack on the side of Mineski. So Bristleback going down for a second time in a row, though. Not exactly the ideal result for them there. Q at top.
Just look at how this... Oh my god, top lane.
Yep. There's a follow-up some from Jesse Bash, and Q cannot TP out. Got some good levels up there, and pretty much tanks a gank that otherwise would be headed towards someone like Lena. So you'd much rather your Visage going down than Shiki in the mid.
But this is looking still really good for Mineski. They are not losing the early game too badly.
Yeah.
And their lineup is much more stronger in the mid to late game because they have so much minus armor. There's no way Gyro can actually fight into this sort of lineup. And they don't have defensive supports. Their supports are all very independent at doing their own damage. They are not heroes that can actually keep the Gyro safe in team fights.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Up to level 6 now on Slider, so amp damage comes into play. Bristleback definitely needs some farm and catch up himself. Has a couple of ancient stacks here to work with, so that's some good news for the Bristle. Despite the deaths he's been receiving in the bottom lane, he will be able to accelerate and catch up to some of the heroes like Lena.
But this is what you need to do. Like when I see some teams when they play Brute, they don't make this sort of movements. If you notice when I'm talking to you at the house, I always mention how important it is to make moves like this to help the Brute when she's on the off lane. And CDEC so far have made 2 moves to actually help the Brute. And as a result, she's going to be able to control the jungle here. Has a Midas because she didn't really have a good start, so she needs Midas to catch up and think about what items you want to go for. I think this game is definitely a game where you don't really go orchid. You want to go for stats like armor and be able to fight.
Great Vlad's game, I'm sure, when you're against all this minus armor. Like SMY, Vlad,
Vlad's AC,
BKB.
AC.
Well, not even BKB this game, but more like the SMY
AC,
Vlad.
I think.
Yeah. I can definitely see building away from the Orchid this game for sure. Not 9 that's going to help against the 3 cores that Mineski have on their side.
Man, their cores are so scary if they go into the mid to... Like, they can win a team fight when they are like maybe 7k to 10k net worth behind because of how easy they output damage with their heroes.
Well, they're going to be pretty tanky too. I mean, Slider's fairly naturally tanky. Bristleback beefs up a lot, and SF going for the mech and stats build, so if SF can get a decent time on mech and then his BKB or SMY, whatever item he wants to go for, call down at mid. Oh, Jules gets clipped by it. They may just lose the Wyvern here, but no, he flies back to safety. Brood was trying to rotate into this one as well. They're really committing a lot. The Wyvern gets very low, but Brood's scurried back into the jungle. Could have maybe cleaned up the Wyvern, but
you can see how you know how desperate they are to try and get more out of the early game because with their lineup they need to be more ahead. Like right now they're ahead by 3k, but that's not enough for their lineup. Their lineup is built to be even more ahead during the early game.
Now they lost a tower, so that's going to even things up a bit. Cuckoo seeing the Spirit Breaker top, knowing he was safe, and Spirit Breaker taking some time off ganking and pressuring the lanes to try and get a level 6 here, so gave Mineski some breathing room, and this is suddenly going to be SF with a mech soon. Bristleback, it looks like he's going to go for a Vanguard, and he's actually diving in bottom. Has a haste rune. He may just be able to solo kill the Visage here. There's nothing Q can do if Cuckoo decides to chase him down, but I think he decides it's probably not for the best. Now the charge, and this is not
we might lose his
good
life here.
for Bristle. He's getting far enough away. Can Shiki hit the stun off of this? Garda has a Nether Strike, so should be able to get the chain stun off. Is the LSA going to land? The haste still there. He gets away just barely. That was so close.
That haste ended, so he got really lucky with the timing there. He just ended after the charge complete and the Nether Strike.
Bottom rune. Jay, call down Rocket Barrage, gets an Illusion rune. Of all the runes to get, could tank a Rocket Barrage. Nope, he's going to go down. Charge was there. Meanwhile, Shiki, in trouble. Has a Laguna, but won't even get a chance to use it. Now the familiars, need to be a little bit careful with those. Mineski rotating in. They know there's no cooldown, and it looks like they want to fight. Cuckoo on the front lines here, fairly tanky. Winter's Curse is there. Q gets low. Cuckoo gets the cleanup kill.
Oh,
Familiars
XZ, he's amped up. They see him, he's dead.
Dear,
Oh
that's
dear,
a
all
problem.
the pickoffs.
And there's a blink on Slider. Do they know Garda's up here? It doesn't look like it. Ryu with the blink dagger. Will cause some problems here.
Oh
And
my
actually goes
god.
into the
So good for them.
They've got so much minus armor here. This is such an easy road for them. Bristleback's just going to tear this apart. Vanguard up on Bristle. This is such a great early pickup for him. Just helping him tank up and able to fight into heroes like the Gyrocopter. Speaking of Gyro, where is he? Needs to come in fast with a cooldown. Roche is dropping slowly, quickly. Familiars are there. 1 stun, 2 stun. Cooldown there as well. They're charging on in. That's a cooldown onto everyone. Mineski getting low, but they've got the mech. They're going to heal back up, and it's aggressive. Actually going down. Mineski just surviving through all the damage. Shiki gets the kill in the cold embrace with the LSA. Meanwhile, Garda, he's gone in, trying to fight the Bristle of Cuckoo. That ain't gonna work. Bristle just charging forward. He's not done. Cuckoo is just tearing apart CDEC. Gets himself a double kill, but it's Lena on the back lines winning CDEC this fight and trying to finish and bring down Roche. Brood rocks up, and I think Mineski...
Oh my god, Cuckoo's gonna run in.
Can he get this one? Familiars need to stun him up here. They're going to do so. Cuckoo gets low. The Brood going to pop the ultimate. Can Cuckoo get Roche? He's going to die to Roche. And he just picked up by the Brood. It's a team wipe as Roche secures the last kill. And Mineski just grouped up a bit too much, I guess, and just couldn't quite bring down Roche fast enough. It looked like a safe play, but definitely in hindsight, just was not something they were ready to do.
Dude, they took a 5-man call on, and they still, I sort of feel they almost won the fight.
Almost won the fight. It
Is
looked
how
like they were
shocked
going to win it
are.
with the Bristle, but...
Because of the mech, they have the mech advantage,
Yeah.
and CDEC's lineup, they didn't have a bigger... they needed a bigger lead from the laning phase to be able to actually take fights like that. Because right now, even though they got the Roshan, Mineski still fine with this. They are looking really strong going into the mid game. Even the Crimson Guard coming out from the Bristle, which very good versus the Flat Cannon, and very good versus the Brood as well.
And even
How are
stuff
they
like
gonna-
Familiars too, so...
Yeah, how are they gonna kill heroes when they get one or more, maybe one more item on the SF like PKB? It's gonna be tough for CDEC to actually focus down
They
heroes.
can still kill heroes with the burst damage from Lena and Gyrocopter. And even Soul Assumption. It's not all right-click
that's-
physical damage.
That's why BKB would be a really big timing for the SF this game, because all the damage right now from CDEC is just mostly
Radiant's
spell
middle
damage.
tower is under attack.
And CDC really feeling the pressure here. They're going to swing towards mid very aggressively.
I mean, they understand the situation. It's really dire for them right now. If they don't get any sort of advantage in the next few minutes, they lose the Aegis. They're gonna have very hard time in the mid game. There's no way they can let this.
And
game
Brood's
go
got
too
the
late.
Aegis. That's not really the ideal hero for them to have the Aegis on.
Radiant's middle tower.
at this
Oh
stage
yeah,
of
yeah,
the game.
true.
So
Didn't
even though
really
they
see
got the Aegis and Roche, it's not really an advantage for them. They'd much rather have it on Gyrocopter or Lena.
Yep. Gyro and Lina would be there because it was like Cuckoo running in the pit, so they were like scrambling. They don't really care about who gets the Aegis. They just wanted to make sure that the Bristol doesn't get the Aegis. That's all they cared about at that point in the game. So right now, even Mineski down in Aegis, they're still looking to be aggressive on the map.
Here comes the Blink Crush. He misses it though. Shiki gets off the Yules. He's going to turn for the stun. He's going to hit 2 with it. Winter's Curse available. Laguna is there with the cooldown. Rage Mutate gets put in a cold embrace, but that means he's got no damage output. They're going to get the kill on Shiki though regardless. Crimson Guard doing what it can to help protect Mineski. Rocket Barrage is there. Bimbo winds up. He gets off just the dying Requiem. Does not get the initial one off. Actually, no, he just barely got it off. Got off the double Requiem, but still the damage not quite enough. Jesse Vash on the side will go down to the Brood here, and Cuckoo, he's low, being healed up by a cold embrace. The Bristleback still tanky, but there's going to be another Yules to control him. LSA to follow. Dragon Slave is there, and Mineski going to get team wiped once more. Slada's missed stun, just buying CDC the time they needed to rotate and punish Mineski's aggression.
That was the right play. That should be an easy kill on the Lina, but just slightly misjudged. Maybe he felt like the Lina would be faster with the Fiery Souls, so he actually blinked a bit further up front. But that was really costly for them. That was so costly. It was supposed to be just one free pick-off and back.
Radiant's top tower.
And CDC wouldn't have even tried to make a counterplay if they lost the Lina right away. Well, speaking of losing the Lina, Shiki at top goes aggressive with the Yules, but Slider was there ready to kind of try and counterplay it, but no follow-up damage. Meanwhile, the Wyvern off to the side in no man's land will go down as well. Mineski just throwing lives away at this stage. SF is back with a Sancher XC amped up. We'll go down to a couple raises for the amp damage. Ryu as well as Bimbo getting now chain stunned by the Familiars. They're in some trouble. Bimbo getting charged up as well. He's got the damage. The Soul Assumption cleans up the SF. Ryu still nearby, trying to fight this one with Cuckoo. 2v5. That's a big crush from Ryu. Cuckoo going in with the Crimson Guard. He really wants this one. I don't think he's got the damage, though. He's getting low, and he's got to try and fight his way through this one. He wants Shiki. He won't get him. Oh, my God. This Bristle. Mineski, what are you doing? You can't fight 2v5. That's not how you play Dota 2. And unfortunately, CDEC will punish them for it. Again and again and again, Winter.
By the way, I can hear Roland.
You know, he's getting into it.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Roland, shut up.
This is the reason why when I always talk about Mineski, I always say that they have very good strategies, but they are not so good in terms of decision making. Sometimes they make mistakes, but it's not like they are using bad strategies or whatnot, but they are just making like plays that they shouldn't be making. They just need to chill. What they need to do is like chill and let their lineup just develop itself. Like you just keep farming, and when you go into late game, you're gonna win the game. That's all they need to do. They don't really need to, like the last play on the Lina was understandable. It was a free pickoff, and they placed wards with the smoke, so it was a very good move. But they made a mistake, so okay, whatever. Then they make this mistake again. They try to defend, where they weren't really ready as 5 heroes, right? They TP'd 1 hero at a time, and some heroes were still respawning. They do not have to take that fight. They could have just gave up the tower and just keep farming. That's all they need to do, and just make sure that the game drags on.
Well, now they've got a big problem because I don't feel like just dragging the game is going to be enough now that they're behind. They're behind by a pretty big gold margin, 8,000 gold.
It's still okay for them.
It's okay. The Gyro's got ancient stacks. There's going to be a Silver Edge pickup for the Spirit Breaker to deal with the Bristleback as well. So I feel like CDEC are itemizing and playing for the late game here.
So this is actually what CDEC needs going after the early game. So Mineski just gave it to them.
Yeah.
They needed to come ahead with this sort of lead from the early game laning phase. But right now, even though Mineski is behind, they can still, I mentioned, right, they can win a game even if they are 7,500 or 10k behind with the lineup.
They need the BKBs, is kind of what you mentioned here. Cuckoo as well as Jay. He will go for an SMY first, which I think is okay. It's still fine, but the BKB timing is when Mineski are going to be at their next strongest peak.
Yeah. I'm surprised even the Sala is not going for a BKB right away. He's building into a 4-star. I'm not sure if he's going to change his mind, but I definitely think that some games on offlane Sala, you want to have a BKB right after your blink. Like this is a very good example of a game where BKB is very, very good. Because you might actually get used by the Lina or get stunned by SB. Like there's a lot of things that can still hit and control you. So BKB is very, very important for the Sala this game.
Mineski, like, they very much just need to calm down. I mean, looking at the net worth right now, the two carries on both teams are fairly similar. It's just the offlane Slider who's really kind of the one who's not really keeping up. Guards coming in, Winter's Curse is there, gotta get scouted, and it's gonna go down.
That was the sentry there.
They were ready for it. Yep, as you mentioned, Sentry Ward in position to scout that one out, and Shadowblade not gonna help him. Aggressive, by the way, going for a Manta pickup. Helping against the amp damage of the Slider.
This is a very common reaction towards the Slider. It's not the most ideal for Gyro since you don't really bet, like your illusion sucks on Gyrocopter.
Yep. True.
But it's what you do against Slider. You have to build all these items to deal with the amp.
Well, we talked about the Brew with the Vlad's pickup. What we didn't talk about was a Solar Crest, which is actually a great item as well to have this game. Really nice armor.
It's good versus the Bristol as well. That's like all he needs this game is all like items that give him stats, armor, whatnot. So it's still the right direction that he's building the Brood into this game.
You see how strong Mineski are. I mean, they find one pickoff and they just go straight down mid as a team and take a tier 2 tower uncontested. So very much
There's
a
no
lineup
curse.
that
They want to fight.
Here we go. They're going to charge in with the Shadowblade onto Ryu. The stun not there in time to cancel initially the charge. Now the Nether Strike going to pull the Slider back in. There's a Laguna to take him out. No more stuns for Mineski, and Cuckoo surrounded, stunned up multiple times. The homing missile even coming into play. The Rocket Barrage not getting the Bristle back onto that one, and the mech from SF not there in time. He's got no BKB, going to get stunned up out of the Yules. The Rocket Barrage as well. Cold Embrace here got the magic damage. They're going to blow him up in the Cold Embrace almost, as he does get brought down. Dying Requiem just tickles CDEC. They just hung around a little bit too long, perhaps.
Yeah, like they needed to like probably sack the heroes. They tried to save the Bristol as well. They needed to sack him, so to minimize casualties. This is like, again, a similar mistake, like lacking in experience. They needed to get out because there was no way they were fighting that. CDEC recognizes that you don't have curse. You can't really take that fight. That is like one of your biggest arsenal in your team fight composition. So after Garda response and they just ran in.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
For that, CDEC will take a tier 2 tower of their own. They're going to back off and possibly posture for Roshan. Get up
And
some wards.
This is very worrisome. They just need to chill. Like, honestly, I just feel like they need to chill. And they just need to keep farming, make sure they get items, and they're going to win the game. That's how their lineup works.
They're
now
playing at the
against
Frankfurt
CDEC.
Majors, Winter, competing for $3 million. You can't just chill. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, but if you're not chilling against CDEC wants to keep fighting with the lineup because they know that their heroes don't really scale so well into the late game. They have Brood Mother, which doesn't do anything against their lineup, and Gyro is very weak versus Slara, except at all these minus armor.
Yep. And that's something Mineski kind of have to just recognize. And
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's-
they do,
that's
is
why
that
you
their
see
draft is
the
going to be
last-
stronger.
That's why you see the last 10 minutes to 15 minutes.
they
CDEC
see
have
Garda.
they've been really trying to force.
Swap, Crush, second stun as well. They're going to bring down Spirit Breaker. Do they go in for more? They've still got the Winter's Curse here. Q nearby. The ward going to spot Mineski, who are on the chase with a sprint ready. Blink Crush could come out onto Shiki. He's going to phase. He's got an Invis Rune as well. He doesn't pop it in time. He gets amped up. They see him now. Going to turn, look for the LSA. Doesn't get it off. And Shiki could be a big pickup for Mineski. That's Alina, who just picked up an Ag Scepter. Well, hasn't actually got it on herself, but did pick up the components back at base.
Good.
Mineski, unfortunately,
The
do not
Roche.
have Roche. Oh, that's a bit of bad luck for Mineski.
It
They've
would
got to
have
know it
been
soon. The
perfect
max
if they
timer
were.
is almost there. Yeah, Jesse Vash is going to possibly just camp in the pit. You should wait this one. Lena, 40 seconds. Oh, no, they're
dear.
going to TP back in the fan bottom. So no Roche for Mineski.
So BKB is up on the Bristol, but they need the more important one is obviously on the SF. I think SF needs it more desperately than the Bristol because Bristol is still very tanky in fights, and SF can't really dish out damage if he's not immune to spells and all these disables. Well, CDEC needs to secure this Roshan.
Oh, yeah, they do. But with this gem, they sure as hell can try and secure the area around it. Mineski will definitely be well aware. They've used a lot of smokes recently. I don't believe they've got any left at their disposal. Nope, none in sight. This is one of the
Look at the Brutes items as well.
Sorry, whose item?
Zlat's AC
Oh, yeah.
Brute. It's just the armor buffer against the Slaughter.
Absolutely. Well, they know it's all physical damage that's going to be coming out. The only nuke damage is really from the SF Requiem and the Razors.
Just look at the net worth graph right now. Mineski is like 8k behind, but they can easily win a fight with their lineup.
That's about to be tested here. Both teams posturing around Roche. CDC smoked up coming from the side here.
Oh, the ward.
Yep, it spots out
The
everything.
sentry.
Two
The
sentries.
sentry is up.
Missing it.
Oh my god, this charge.
Here
This
comes
charge.
CDC charge onto Ryu. The sentry will scout it out. Will they get the crush off? Ryu a bit too late on it. Sentry comes now. The call down there. Not going to hit all too much. Cuckoo goes running in. The Winter's Curse is good. Onto aggressive. The blink is there from Ryu. Needs a crush. Doesn't get it. He gets chain stunned without getting a crush off. Oh no. Raging Potato does not have a BKB. Crimson Guard or not, you're still going down. And Cuckoo on the backline is getting stunned up by some familiars. Great, impressive micro coming out from Q, and Cuckoo, he's got 4 heroes to deal with now. He's in trouble. One more Soul Assumption comes out. He goes down a 4-for-1
He's
trade.
definitely regretting like the SMY pickup. He needs the BKB so badly. I think from his position, because he was having after the disastrous early game and mid game, he was catching up a bit. He felt like he would have been able to farm an SMY and BKB for a very crucial fight, but that was not the case for them this game. So CDEC is right now taking full control of the game.
That ward though.
They saw the SV charging in, but no one actually stunned the SV. There was a sentry there.
Yeah. Well, even Slater can just do it himself. He was just like a half second too late on it. He was mid-animation when he got hit.
There was a sentry and he got 2 heroes. He stunned 2 heroes.
Yep.
And they just jumped to the engage after that.
Well, it's funny.
That was
The
a-
Spirit Breaker didn't even fully commit to it. He just threw the charge and then he backed off a little bit. But it was all that CDC needed to start the fight off. And then Rio, unfortunately, missed his next Blink Crush. Well, he blinked into like 3 heroes, but got instantly stunned. I think a familiar stun or something caught him.
They are very they're very nervous. You can tell. They just need to chill and they're gonna win this game. But unfortunately, right now, their fate is no longer in their hands because CDEC is taking a gigantic control. I mentioned 10k goal, but now it's going beyond 10k goal. It's definitely still possible for Mineski, but right now the odds are very, very difficult. Like during the point where they were 7k to 10k go behind, I would say they have a 50-50 shot. Right now it's less than 50. Like maybe the odds are 3 to 7 or 2 to 8. CDEC is in very good control of the game right now.
Yeah. And Gyros is farming well and has been stacking Ancients continuously. Visage actually has a Guardian Greaves. I mean, we talk about the armor game. Greaves is actually pretty nice. You get low HP and that the bonus armor kicks in.
Amp as well.
So
you remove the amp if he has it on you. So it's a very, very, very good item in this situation. Right now, the minus armor is actually dwindling because they have all these armor items on their team.
Well, and Visage is a very underrated aspect of the Guardian Greaves. And typically it's not saying that's huge, but you get 15 armor when you're below 20% HP. That's something which can always come into play as well for the side of CDEC.
Right now, Mineski needs to finish their BKB before the next fight. They have to get this BKB before the fight comes. This is so important for them.
Has he got it? Yeah, he's got it now.
Yeah.
Radiant's top tower
has the souls as well, so they are ready to go. Aegis on Gyro. CDC, not really the best lineup for pushing straight up pushing high ground.
Oh, okay.
It feels like CDC can't just 5-man push high ground though. They need to find a pick off.
They can control the map right now. They have the Familiars and the Gem, so they're gonna slowly suffocate Mineski and contain Mineski in their base because they still need to take it very, very cautiously. At this stage, if they lose one fight, they're gonna give Mineski everything back.
Well, and CDC, while as much as like they maybe have a slightly weaker late game, if they play the Starvation like Dota where they don't end the game now, like maybe this game goes another 20 minutes, but if they keep Mineski in their base, it's still CDEC favored quite heavily just because they're going to be, instead of being 15k gold ahead, they'll be 25k gold ahead. So Mineski's deficit's just going to keep getting worse and worse, and at some point Mineski's going to be like, guys, we got to go out and take a fight just because we're getting no farm.
Yeah, the bigger the lead gets, it means that Mineski has to execute their team fight very, very well to win. Before, maybe I would say that, oh, they get a crush on 1 or 2 heroes, they're still going to win a fight. Winter's Curse or maybe the Gyro, and they're going to be able to win the fight easily. But right now, they probably need more than that. They need to crush 3 heroes, get a key curse on multiple heroes as well, and allow SF to actually dish out damage in a team fight.
Well, speaking of the armor game, Winter, there's an ice armor even from the Gyrocopter. He's got a Ogre Frost Mage coming around with him. So.
Wow, that's like, it feels like a Doom Devourer right now.
Yeah.
You go for the ice armor.
AC, Vlad, Solar Crest, ice armor. I mean, Gyro's sitting on 30 plus armor.
This is perfect for them. They are going to be able to siege the high ground with this.
Yep. And this is just where Bristle just isn't quite as scary or beastly because so much of his damage is kind of like with the itemization towards the Crimson Guard, he's not as much of a right-click carry. He's more relying on the quills.
But the thing is, he's also behind right now, so it's really not fair to say if he's, let's say on even, don't even talk about being ahead of the Gyro. If he's on even terms, he has another 4k network. He has one more item. Then he can actually still output a lot of damage or even be much more tanky, like have a, for example, a Heaven's Helper will be really good in this game.
CDC, they're looking for that key pick-off that could lead into a high ground siege. Smoked up right outside the Mineski base. Ryu gonna go out and Guard is there to scout him. The Nether Strike gonna come in and Ryu gets pushed back. Doesn't get a chance to force or blink. No follow-up pick-off. If there was a secondary kill, that could have just been it. Mineski. Bimbo without buyback on SF. He needs to be very careful.
Defend as well right now with the Slaughter. Slaughter is their primary initiator.
Yep. All they've got is a Winter's Curse, but initiating with that is not going to be easy.
No, Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, gotta be careful. Gets down very low to start things off. The Manta out of the amp damage. That aggressive is pushing pretty damn fast here. The Familiar stun up Cuckoo. He's got the Crimson Guard. That's about to wear off though, and aggressive on the front lines, just happy to throw away an Aegis if they can get a Rax out of this one. And I believe that may just be the case. Here comes the call down. Guard gets a charge on the backline. The Solar Sumpter on the Jules gets him low. Where's the Winter's Curse? Needs to be good. It's on the XG. Doesn't catch out any other heroes though. Aggressive's respawned and Mineski pushed back to their fountain. As a result, it looks like they'll lose their bottom melee Rax. Slaughter about to TP. Nope, they're going to look to TP back and try and take this fight. Cuckoo in the charge. Doesn't get hit by the LSA. Can Mineski get any kills out of this one? They've held their Rax for now, and they're not done. The Blink Crash will barely clip Aggressive. He's still got a BKB and a Manta style, though. Can Manta out of this if he needs to. Swap back. They catch Shiki. Amp damage is there. Laguna doesn't do quite enough to really damage Mineski here. They've still got their cores up and fighting, but not for long. Not if SF can't get away from the Gyrocopter. Aggressive trying to chase him down. Won't succeed in doing so. Meanwhile, the amp damage onto XZ does mean they can look to chase him down, but Mineski just too low in HP here. They're all so low and just unable to fight. They've just brought down the Lina, and it doesn't really feel like That's enough, really, to consider that a good trade for Mineski.
That was a very, very expensive defense. They had to use a buyback. They used their BKB charges, and they still lost the tier 3. So this is still really ideal for CDEC. They didn't lose the Gyro. Gyro still gets items. They just need to, right now, get more items on Gyro, wait for the next Aegis to be really safe, and go again. Because they did a significant amount of damage already with that push.
Yeah, and even without claiming a melee Rax, and this melee Rax will heal back up, but CDC can just buy themselves some time, pick up the next couple of items. Butterfly now complete for Gyro.
Yeah.
Wait on an
And
Aegis if they really want.
Goddess is gonna have his BKB. I thought he would have actually wanted.
Okay.
I thought he actually wanted to go for maybe a Lotus Orb this game, which is really, really good.
Well, the other item was the Silver Edge we mentioned as well, which could be a good answer to the Bristleback. But Bristleback right now just isn't a problem as much.
It's not a problem, you know, now. Right now, the main thing is like the amp damage and being able to actually probably reflect Winter's Curse that could have been really big for them. Do you know how it works with the bench swap? If you actually Lotus up, that would be funny, right?
I think you just don't move, I guess. Yeah, both heroes would just stand still.
Yeah, I think Lotus Orb would have been a really, really good pickup this game. Like BKB, I'm not so sure how much it would actually provide. Yeah.
And you can, I guess like you say, you can get rid of the amp damage much easier with a Lotus
I guess
Orb.
with the BKB, you can actually just run in and not worry about. But you might still get swap or curse your initiation. So I'm not sure. I felt like Lotus Orb would have been a pickup that gives him much more opportunities to make a really, really big play and much more useful than a BKB.
CDC still getting aggressive towards this bottom lane.
Oh, he just finished his butterfly, so they want to use this butterfly timing to actually siege.
Well, without an Aegis, this is quite a little bit risky.
Yeah, it is still
no
risky.
buyback.
Who has buyback? Anyone has buyback on Mineski?
No Gyro. Lena does with all the money she's got, but I mean at this stage they're much more. Roche is coming up soon, so if they lose a fight now near the Mineski base and suddenly there's a fast Roche respawn,
there's no need to risk anything. They just need to wait for the Roshan and maybe complete one more item on the Visage. Or does he have another item? Yeah, he has a 4-staff. So they have. They don't really need to rush anything, and maybe even Brood can finish one more item. It'll be funny to see a Brood with Shiva's Guard.
Well, that's some serious sound. And I'd even prefer seeing something like a Butterfly as well on Brood, because no one's buying MKB anytime soon.
But Butterfly would be good.
Because that's also a lot of armor.
Even a Skadi on Brood would be nice this game.
We'll see what the plan of action is going to be. Right now, Mineski very much running out of options. They've got a smoke here, but they don't really. They're going to have to be kind of gambling as to when Roche is going to be respawning. If they
but the problem is they don't have map control and the lanes are always pushing. With they can just easily use the familiars to push the lanes, so it's difficult for Mineski to move out their base unnoticed by CDEC, because it'll be really obvious when no one is actually defending the lanes.
CDEC, are they going to go for a jump? Garda goes in. No Shadow Blade available, goes to the BKB instead. Raging Potato gets swapped out back to safety. Jesse Bash can be the sacrificial lamb for now. BKB forward, aggressive once in. It's going to see a Manta style. Dodges a Winter's Curse, I believe, because of that. That's a nice little play from aggressive. And they're on the Mineski high ground, charging forward once again. Garda will force out the BKB. May pay for this with his life. He's gone in deep. The crush going to be off the mark here. Laguna Blade kills Slaughter in the fountain. Mineski getting hurdled back, and well, that's going to open up this top lane for the taking. All 3 heroes dead without buyback. AC Vlad's going to amplify the push, and CDEC going to get at least 1 lane of rack, possibly multiple, possibly even force out the GG. It looks like Mineski is done for in game number 1.
Man, they showed a lot of potential, honestly. Like, I think they had a really good strategy, a very good start to the game as well. It's just that they made too many mistakes. It's just something I always say about Mineski.
Well, there was like 3 team wipes in a row when the game was looking.
The issue is like they didn't even have to be aggressive at that stage. They just need to chill, and they're gonna win the game.
Well, game 1 goes the way of CDEC. I mean, you can see on the graph, like 15 minutes in, it was Mineski dead even, and with the draft that looked like it was going to scale a lot better, and then things fell apart.
In the late game, if it's even or like not too big of a lead for CDEC. I think Mineski showed a lot of promise in this game. It's just that their decision making and probably even Real messed up a key initiation at the top for the Lina, cost them a lot. So overall, I think they showed a lot of promise. And again, I think I've been saying a lot about Mineski that their drafts and strategies are always very, very solid. They have a very good plan in the game, with the bench this game in particular, with how they wanted to run the strategy and how they wanted to make sure that they had a very good support that can roam early and provide a lot for the team later in terms of minus armor. And you have the swap to make sure that if you go into a very late game situation, SF is super big and you have swap, it's so difficult to deal with that type of lineup in the late game. So Mineski had a very good plan this game. They just didn't really execute it very well because they, as usual, they made a lot of mistakes. Like against a very good opponent, you make a mistake like this, you get punished so badly.
Well, they got punished pretty damn badly here. It ended up looking ugly for them, but like you say, showing a lot of promise. If they can polish some things up, definitely can see Game 2 be as competitive, possibly even going Mineski's way. But CDEC, a tough squad, and a squad that's not going to make mistakes. I feel like they may have been slightly outdrafted this game, but they itemized, they played correctly, and they punished Mineski when the mistakes were there.
Let's not forget they made a really good rotation in the early game. Before the gyro hits level 6, they made a rotation. That was a very, very big move in the early game. So Mineski showed that they understood what CDEC is good at. They tried to shut it down. It was just a matter of fact that in the second game, how they attempt to reduce the mistakes they are making, that's going to be the most important thing for them.
Okay. Well, Game 2 coming up, guys. Myself, as well as Winter, will be covering that one. Stay tuned. You're watching the Frankfurt Majors Dota 2 coverage from the Beyond the Summit studio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Already time now for game number
5
2,
seconds
CDEC taking on Mineski. Mineski started pretty strong, had a good draft, but
Reserve time.
CDEC, too good. Your TI5 runner-ups, still looking as strong as ever. Winter, joining me for game number 2 again. We'll see what Mineski can put together. Were you surprised by game number 1, Mineski falling apart, or do you feel like that's just like a bit of what we're used to with Mineski?
Yeah, that's a bit what we are used to again for Mineski. They make mistakes when they have a good position. I just expected them to do much better after Nanyang.
Mm-hmm.
I know they always come up with very good drafts and very good ideas of how they want to play the game. It's just that their execution has always been letting them down against the stronger opponents. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe they are just they are very they don't feel comfortable when they're not playing from their team house or whatnot.
10 seconds remaining.
All right. Well, we're gonna hop ourselves into the
I just
draft.
feel sad.
CDEC.
and
I
see what
just
they
feel
can
sad
put
because
together.
they came up with really good strategies, but they can't show how good their lineup can actually work because they don't play. They make a lot of mistakes.
Radiant team
Well,
pick.
we'll see what their draft. I mean, drafting definitely their strong suit, so we'll see them go back to the slider. I don't feel like it's something they have to change up their picks at all. It's very much the execution and decision making that let them down. But this time around, it will be CDEC with first pick. So a few different heroes will slip through, and this time Mineski ban out Spirit Breaker, leaving the
CDEC,
Tusk
turn to pick.
for CDEC, and they pick up the SF slider once again on the side of Mineski.
So they actually chose Radiant again.
Well, game 1, CDEC would have chosen Dire. Most teams prefer Radiant apart from CDEC.
I see. So this is the other hero that CDEC was really good at during TI, the Tusk.
Yep.
And obviously SB, they ran the SB very successfully. The last game, their early game was a lot relying on the SB
5
being able to
seconds
secure
remaining.
kills for their mid lane and their off lane. And CDEC and eHome are the two teams where when you look at the
CDEC,
matches that they
turn
play
to
against
ban.
another Chinese team, you would see the SB in the first phase ban against those two teams.
Okay. So we'll see very standard CDC opener here. But I mean, as far as the
10
current patch
seconds
goes, like you
remaining.
look at these openers and you think, oh, Mineski's got a
It-
Radiant SF with
5
Slider.
seconds
CDC
remaining.
have
Yeah.
Gyro Tusk, but this is not 6.84 anymore. So most teams would much prefer to be in Mineski's side right now as far as the draft goes.
CDEC's playstyle is not so strong in this patch, and their hero selection as well is weaker. And okay, there goes the NS pick that I mentioned the last game. It would have been really good for them with their Slada and Shadowfin. And right now, Mineski is removing heroes that can give SF a very hard time in the laning phase. Maybe they're going to remove the Lina as well after the last game. But we'll see what they... I don't really feel like that's the biggest issue. It's just about how they can actually cut down their mistakes in the game, like how they can actually make better decision making
seconds remaining.
to reduce all the errors that have been occurring in their games.
And possibly they even ban
5
out the Brood
seconds
if they feel
remaining.
like that was a problem here for them, although I felt like they dealt with it pretty well.
Not really. I think they dealt with the
Reserve
Brood.
time.
That was number one. They had a really good last pick, which was the Bristleback, which I mentioned a lot. That Bristleback is a really good hero versus Brood Mother in the laning phase, and Brood can't really push the towers. And you're so tanky that even if you bring reinforcements as the Brood, because that's always the timing that you're looking to go for. You bring reinforcements to actually kill the Brood's lane. But then Bristleback is a hero that can actually survive through a singular hero gang. You need to bring like what they did. They bring in every time they gang the Bristle, they brought in 2 heroes. They needed to commit so much resource.
Well.
And now we see the Wyvern again, which is really good versus the Gyro. You want to have a BKB lockdown against Gyrocopter.
I mean, this is almost identical to what we saw last game. There's not a
10
pick that has
Yeah,
changed just yet.
there was no issues with their heroes. It's
Yep.
just the execution was the problem.
5 seconds remaining.
We'll see if they go. I don't know if the Venge pick will remain the same, but we'll have to see.
Reserve time.
Not necessarily a weak point in their draft, but
Yeah, but some other supports might have done a lot more,
Yeah.
the Stalker, but not this game. They maybe can go for a bounty. I'm not sure if they want to do it. Bounty is a bit more riskier than the NS because NS can provide a lot during the laning phase because you're tanky. You have lane presence with the Slada.
well, the other problem is they
Radiant
commit the
team
Wyvern
picked.
to the mid lane. That means if they go bounty, they have no one to help their safe lane farmer.
Yeah.
So I'd almost feel like they want to go for a standard safe lane zoning support. Maybe not. If it's not the Venge, there's still other options like Disruptor or something. But Witch Doctor, Dazzle, or Dazzle's still in the pool as well.
Dazzle would be nice. Dazzle would be really nice for them. But going back to their last ban, I was talking about they might even ban the Lina against the SF, but they chose to ban Darkseer because CDEC, even though they run Tusk off lane, but they do also always run support Tusk, so you never know what they would actually do with the Tusk. And Darkseer with their lineup could have been really devastating with the Tusk and the Gyrocopter.
All right, well, Mineski, fourth pick, Bounty Hunter. You mentioned it, and you'll be right on that one.
Turn to pick.
Yeah, I just watched a lot of their games.
Yeah.
They always have this staple hero where Jesse Vash will be roaming. I always prefer him to play, like Night Stalker, I think is the strongest hero that they can put in that playstyle.
Yeah, and this pressures the Lina a bit and just frees up a lot bit more space for
Yeah,
SF.
it's not only that, because Bounty Hunter could be picked against the SF with the Lina. Like BH and Lina is very, very strong together. So it could also be something that CDEC wanted to go for. So this pick actually denies maybe one other good option that CDEC has.
Well, we'll see fourth pick coming up for CDEC now, and
reserve time.
That's what that might be. The Tusk, as you mentioned, can be Xyz hero for the offlane or sometimes a support. But offlaners are very limited right now, I feel. There's still a Clockwork in the pool, but this does not look like a great Clockwork game in general. The hero mate is just going to be... It feels like Clockwork in general has fallen off and it's just going to be very squishy against this kind of a lineup. For now, they stick to their guns from game number one. It's going to be another Visage.
Yeah, but this game they have like Tusk arguably much more stronger with their lineup compared to the Brood if they want to run Tusk offlane. And I agree as well, there's not much offlaners remaining that is really good, and Mineski still bans out the Brood, fearing that the laning phase might be a huge problem. So the last pick that Mineski needs is a safe laner for Cuckoo here for their lineup. Anything that synergizes very well with Sada is fine. They can fight early. They're still
I
Juggernaut.
feel Jug's really underpicked possibly because you can get out of like the Yules combo, you can dodge a lot of the Gyrocopter
Jug
damage.
is super good versus the Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
The Gyro can't really win against Jug, but they do have the Snowball this time. The last game they didn't have defensive supports or any defensive spells to actually help the Gyro, but this game they have a Snowball, but Snowball is still not like a Grave or whatnot.
No.
So I could see Juggernaut working really well against these heroes.
But we'll see what Mineski have in mind here. They've got plenty of time to think through the various different options for themselves and figure out.
They could go Wind Ranger safe lane.
Yeah,
that's also a good option.
That's like such. I was thinking like, what's a Cuckoo hero there? The one that comes to mind is Wind Ranger, but yeah, teams have done that. It's not completely unheard of. Like, I mean, you've got OG running safe lane Beastmaster for Christ's sake. Like, it synergizes so nicely with the Slaughter and.
Man, there's track with Focus Fire. That's actually so big for their lineup. So I could see that happening for them as well. I think those two are probably the two best options that Mineski has, the Juggernaut or the Wind Ranger right now in their situation. Maybe they would favor the Wind Ranger because Wind Ranger feels more... There's a lot more potential if your player can actually play the hero very well compared to the Juggernaut.
Well, and especially, you've lost game one, you're looking to bounce back. Going for a comfort pick is something that could be beneficial to Mineski, but maybe not feeling comfortable running the Wind Range in the safe lane is always possible, so we'll see. But right now, 30 seconds.
You can still do SF safe lane, but I guess in Raiden you always want to go mid lane. But Wind Ranger safe lane is actually quite okay though. You just need to run it like any other, like the Queen of Pain safe lane. You TP around, you help when you get levels, and you keep staying in your lane. Because you dominate the lane with Wind Ranger on safe lane. It's very hard for the offlaner to run up and take farm.
Well, it means the Bounty can roam and the Wyvern can also stack and help mid if you want to. So
they're using up all their time, though.
They had a minute and a half. They had all their reserve time for this last pick. It better be damn good.
Oh, no wonder they're using so much time. They're actually very worried if because they are making a lot of mistakes, right? And if you go for obviously the Wind Ranger or the Juggernaut would be really nice, but it gives you less room for mistakes because you're not so strong later in the game. AM is like late game secure, right?
AM Dota, this is.
Yeah, but I'm worried about it. Like their lineup, AM, SF, you take so much space, and Sada's not going to get so much, and CDEC has this timing window that they can actually come in and just take control of the map, and your heroes cannot do anything. It's not like the last game. The last game they had a safe laner, they can actually do something. So I'm actually worried for Mineski, but it occurs to me that I feel like they're actually worried because they're making so much mistakes That's why they used so much time. They wanted a secure late game hero.
The other thing that CDEC sometimes do is offensive tri lanes as well, so they could look to pressure the anti-mage. It's a very weak support options for Mineski to protect the AM.
I think they might actually be able to do that. Oh, Tide actually...
Tide safe lane?
Oh my god.
He's great 1v1 against Slada.
Tide versus Slada, Tuss, and Tuss plus Gyro and Visage versus AM.
Yeah. I think CDEC
even the normal lanes could work, you know, like Tuss Tidehunter versus the AM lane. And then you do Gyro plus Visage. Like, you just do standard lanes. The Tuss and Tide will be able to pressure the AM lanes regardless.
Man, how long has it been since you've seen a Tide win through? This hero, like, I forgot he existed.
I think I saw a Tide yesterday. EG picked Tide one game.
Okay.
There was one game that they picked Tide. I think it was against Fnatic or maybe someone else. They played one Tide game, I remember, yesterday.
Well, very much digging from the bottom of
just look at that team fight with Tide, Gyrocopter, and the Tuss and the Visage.
Prepare for battle.
Well,
look, what is aggressive? Aggressive items, okay. You're not sure where he's going
yet. He did the same item build last game, even when he was safe lane. Possibly, let's look at Tide. Tide with Mango, Tango, Salve.
Offlane Tide with the ward, probably.
We'll see, but yeah, likely an offlane Tide.
They don't really need to do their aggressive lanes. They just need to go standard lanes, and Tuss and Tide can still pressure the AM. That's like the beauty of their lineup right now against the AM. That's why I wasn't expecting the AM pick in the last phase. I was expecting someone that is stronger in the lane. You can fight much earlier, so you don't get pressured. Right now, CDEC just needs to pressure and hit a timing window where they have mech on Tidehunter, and you don't really have a you don't really have any big team fight apart from your
Tide's up top, Winter. They're going for the offensive tri lane. It looks like it at least.
Where's the Gyro? Okay, he's here. Okay, yeah, they're definitely going for aggressive.
Bounty poking around. Does he see anyone? He sees the Gyro, it looks like. Yeah, he sees Gyro.
That is a big tell. That is a big tell because Gyro is not going to be at the bottom.
And Mineski are rotating top rune. So yeah, that's some useful scouting information for Jesse Vash. They could go for the kill. They've got the Ice Shard's dust. Oh, they don't get the block.
They didn't block.
He should dusted first. Maybe got a bit more vision out of that, but that should have been a kill.
It was still a really nice attempt though. It was very hard to fault him there because he got the Ice Shard at a good the place where the bounty was running, but he just didn't fully block the entire ramp.
Yeah, we didn't have to block the whole ramp. He just needed to catch the bounty inside the Ice Shard.
Yeah,
he threw it too far.
So right now, CDEC just needs to win their lanes and hit their timings with the Mag on Tide, level 6 Visage, and they take Roshan. It's going to be very difficult for Mineski to team fight this game. They need to run around, keep kiting, keep buying space. Oh, Shiki doesn't have a sentry in mid lane. This is troublesome.
He's already getting poked here by the Orb of Venom bounty.
Oh, okay, Q is coming over.
Yep. Struggling to get some early last hits now as well, so needs that. He's going for a fast bottle build rather than going for the null, knowing that he's going to get pressured a lot. If you go for like a null build and get pressured and get a slow bottle, you can really struggle. So seeing a slight change up in the item build coming out from Lina.
Yeah, but top lane Tide versus Slada, it's actually not too bad for Slada, even though you generally don't want melee versus Tide. But Slada can stand his own because he has very good stats. He has very good armor, very good animation against the Tide.
Yep. Trading blows a lot here, so we'll see how this one kind of pans out. Bottom lane, the aggressions come in. They're going in on Jules, looking for a first blood here. One more right click. Aggressive goes in. It's going to be, yep, Gyrocopter picking it up. Cuckoo used Blink as well. Does have a nice creep wave here to tank up any potential Rocket Barrage, but it's actually Flak level 1. They got the kill without Rocket Barrage. Not something I was expecting. Just Grave kill as combined with the Flak and Wyvern. A very squishy hero to have early on.
Yep, we'll see how much this bounty is doing on the other lane. So, because we expect the AM to have a hard time in this lane, anything he can get is nice. So it'll be up to the bounty to change the balance of the other two lanes. How much he can turn the tide for the other two lanes.
Well, he's come up top looking for XZ, but he's salving up, so he will be full HP.
Tide will be much stronger in this lane when he gets
bottom lane. Cuckoo. A bit of trouble here. Choose through all the mana on aggressive here. They may try and turn this one around. There's a blink available, but...
Oh, this lane is fine though, looking much better for AM.
Yeah.
Gyro is out of mana. AM has actually 5 last hits and Gyro has 6. It's not too bad.
He got a first blood though, so he's already got boots as well as a magic stick. And Cuckoo going to salve up though, so... We'll see what they can do here now to Cuckoo, but he's out of regen, so this lane will get a bit trickier for AM.
Yeah, but it's still the fact that CDEC has this timing when they're gonna hit and they're gonna try and take control of the map. Even if your AM gets some farm or gets good farm from the lane, he's still gonna be pressured later. So we'll see how much this bounty is able to do to slow this down. Oh my god, here he comes.
Yeah, he's possibly found the kill here. Ice Shards in the snowball, looking to help out aggressive, create space for him to back off. Cuckoo gets cold embraced up. They're going to get the kill on Jules, though. Q with the Grave Chill Soul Assumption. I'll turn it around, and aggressive has a bit of mana to play around with. Has one
it's still
Rocket
fine
Barrage.
though. They're using up so much like regen and HP to actually get the kills, and AM is going to get farmed because of that. And you lose your support, so it's... I mean, the first bird is kind of big, but the secondary kill doesn't mean so much for CDEC.
This time around, Gyro has clarities and possibly a TP back from a Visage with some extra HP regen, so... Not sure if this lane's going to stay fine. Yeah, it's actually ferrying out Tangos on the Courier,
This is not very good for CDEC though. AM is going to get a lot of farm right now.
I mean, AM still takes a long time to come online, so I feel like CDEC, the lanes haven't gone as well as they were hoping it for, but they're still going to hit their early game timings.
Yeah, and Tide is going to start to dominate the Slada. When you get
Mid
your
lane,
points in your
Snowball,
practice and your
LSA,
anchor.
Shiki in trouble. There's a Dragon Slave, and Jay can be brought down by a nice rotation from Garda.
Didn't they see him coming over? There's a ward. Or he actually came from here. I didn't see.
Came from
He
behind.
came from this side.
Yeah, he came through the fog. That ward not in the most useful spot to scout that rotation out. If it's
that is
further to the
that
left,
is not.
sees a lot
Usually we see it here.
Radiant's middle tower is
It would
under
actually
attack.
scout everything. Like against, I think I say this a lot. Like against Tusk and Spirit Breaker, you want to have wards that actually cover the river, because these are heroes that can actually gank the middle lane when they're level 2. So this ward is actually, I mean, it still gives vision in the river, but it didn't give vision to the area that the Tusk came from, the angle that he came from. So that was rather unfortunate for Mineski.
Yeah, they did also know, like, they scouted out the offensive trailing very early on, so they know that kind of rotation is very possible too, so... a bit unfortunate for them. We'll see Jesse Vash continue to roam around. Definitely not the high-impact bounty hunter we've seen from, like, various other players from time to time. Like, Pailai Dai at Nanyang comes to mind, where even though he's dying a lot, he was applying a ton of pressure, forcing out resources to be used. This bounty hasn't forced that many sentries to be bought, hasn't died at all, but isn't really getting a whole lot done right now.
Yep, and now the ward is going to spot out Garda here at top lane, so Mineski should be able to do something at bottom and get more farm, because they know the Tusk is here.
Yep.
So let's see what the bounty hunter is up to so far. He's just getting his levels. SF just cleared a stack. But at the same time, you know, for bounty hunter to be able to do a lot in the early stage, you need matchups that actually have a lot of kill potential. Like SF against Lina is a matchup where SF is just going to focus a lot on farming. You're not going to be harassing the Lina a lot in the early stages, because Lina can actually harass you much easier with Dragon Slave. And if you talk about Slada versus Tide as well, Slada is the hero that takes more harass from the Tide compared to any other hero. So bounty you don't have any potential in killing the other 2 lanes. So he's just going to be running around, maybe just scouting the Tusk movements. That's, I think, the biggest thing that he can do right now.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, and just helping know that the rotation was coming top seems to have helped Ryu out a bit. There was a kill attempt. Ravage got used, but Ryu did manage to survive it, got kind of low.
Was it like a solo kill? He was trying to solo kill?
It was when the Tusk was there.
Oh, okay.
It was like 30 seconds ago. I didn't actually catch it. Bring out your T2s. I don't know. But I just something popped up top lane when Sada got low, and I saw that Ravage had just finished on cooldown. So let's see. This Tide cannot be bullied out of this lane. Like, he is too tough to deal with.
It's at a point where he's very, very dominant in the lane when he gets all his levels in Kraken and Ankle Smash. He's gonna be able to free farm and get his mech. And man, Garda is again the key hero making rotations, like his SB the last game. He's he's very, very, very comfortable in playing these 2 heroes, the SB or the Tusk, moving around, trying to look for kills. Well, they're bringing in 3 heroes, they better get this kill.
It's not going to be easy. He's got 10 stick charges, doesn't have a Ravage, TP support possibly available. Gyrocopter has one, does not have much mana, and does not have a cooldown. Bottom lane similarly, there is pressure coming in. Can they get XZ up here? They've got to do it fast. There's Ravage going to be coming online soon.
Cool. Oh my god.
Cold Embrace, Soul Assumption. Can they do it? 2 seconds on a blink. They need a bit more. Not going to get it. Not going to go for the dive. Arctic Burn is there, and Aggressive gets very low. Didn't have the mana he needed to get the kill. Q, one more right click. Oh, that was close. 20 HP. What a aggressive lane coming out at bottom.
This is again really good for AM because he didn't die and have full embrace and he has a ring. So he's going to be able to farm again.
By the way, not just outside of the AM, looking at the mid CS, SF with 49, Lina with 29. Some of that is neutrals, but despite dying that one time to a Tusk rotation, this is a lane where SF is doing more than okay.
Yeah, he needs to be able to do as well as he's doing right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't justify the Radiant pick for SF.
Has been killed.
Curry gets found and taken out by the bounty hunter. Nice little bit of positioning there.
AM just blinked. He's dead.
Oh dear. Yep. Lina rotation and will be brought down. Nice little ward behind the tower there, giving that extra bit of information. And Shiki with the first successful rotation from one of the CDEC's core heroes.
XZ is so hard to take down. So the only lane they can kill is probably mid lane, with the Gyro approaching the tower so closely.
Gyro at mid, he wants his tier 1. There's no glyph.
Oh my god, that's a free. Okay, that just happened.
That was a bounty SF, but this is a Gyro with cooldown rocket barrage. He's level 6 and pretty fearsome right now. Not really a stage of the game where Mineski can
Lina
fight him.
was nearby, that's why he was also so confident in taking the tower.
This is
so at this stage, CDEC is really strong with their heroes.
Mineski have had an okay start. They're getting their farm, but this is still they've got a
Not as
lot
good as the last game.
to kind of tread through to get to a safe state right now. Sprint gets off the crush. The rocket barrage kind of tearing through him. Not going to go for the sprint escape. I don't think he had any way out of that one, regardless. Top
This game,
tier
you
1.
compare this start and the last game start is day and night.
Well,
and Mineski right now has a much more greedy, like their draft is much more greedy this game compared to the last game.
Just the SF doing well, and we'll find a Visage TP into his lane. I think Q is just trying to say, I want my level 6 here. TP coming in, does he turn, look for the Grave Chill?
Oh my god, he might be in trouble here.
There's a bounty here as well. Q's kind of
Snowball.
low. Wants the rune. Does he get greedy going for this? No, he's going to trek his way down towards one race. Turn, one race, 2. Gets a kill. Nice play by Jay. Could he get any more here? He's got no Requiem, so to speak, of the cold embraces there. He's being healed back up. Here comes Tide, though. Winds up a Ravage. Gets 2, including Jay. They'll get the kill on the bounty. They'll get the kill on the Shadow Fiend. Cuckoo blinks in with a Mana Void. Jams it home. Possibly still an okay fight for Mineski, but now Gyrocopter rocks up and aggressive. Makes his stamp known as CDEC get 3 kills. Lose just 2. And most importantly, get the kill on the SF.
They were supposed to lose the fight at this stage anyway, so 3 for 2 is not that bad for them. And AM got a kill on the Lina, so he got a huge boost of income there.
Nope. Definitely helps the AM, but it's still concerning. I think SF was the top net worth hero before that fight happened. And he died.
He's not going a mech though to buy time for the AM to farm. He's going for SNY.
Okay.
I guess he knows that they can't really fight into this lineup, so he just wants to be
I mean, the mech is more a team fight option. That Sanjin Yasha just means he stays alive. Because at this point, it's like, well, I get a mech to help my team or get an SMY to help myself.
You can still look at it at a different perspective where if you have a mech, you fight like a small 2v2 fight, 3v3, and you win because of the mech, you buy a lot of time for the AM as well.
I don't think CDC are going to give you 2v2 fights, though. Not with their lineup.
Yeah, but they're going to try to split them up, so it might actually happen. Yeah, obviously CDEC doesn't want to do that with their lineup.
Yep.
But Mineski's plan is obviously going to try and split them up, try to make CDEC farm like one hero at the top, like a few heroes at bottom, a few heroes mid, and then the Starla and the BH will try to find early pickoffs.
Well, they want to start getting some track gold. This could very quickly turn. It is 4,000 gold lead for CDEC, and here come Mineski towards top. Oh, this could backfire as there is a rotation from CDEC. They're looking to back Shiki up. It may come too late. Jesse Dash barely survives. Here comes CDEC, though. It's just Garter and Q. I say just, but these two have a lot of firepower between them. They're going to go in on the SF. The Warriors punch. The cooldowns. They're aggressive. Rocks up with the TP onto the tower. They get one. Can they get more? Doesn't look like it.
And this guy is always so on point with his rotations. Their play is always so in sync with each other. They come in at the right time, everyone gathers up at the best possible time to drop all their spells together.
No Jules is in these trees. Do they go fishing for him? Be committing very hard. They've got Ravage. They've also got the mech advantage now with Tide having one. Will heal it up. Well, Meckham's team back up. Gets it off just before the Winter's Curse. That timing could not have come better. Now Jules going to try and sneak his way out of there. Aggressive's got FaZe and Yasha. Doesn't quite get close enough for a Rocket Barrage, though. Jesse Vash throwing up more tracks and will bounce a Shuriken around. CDEC just getting a bit too low to stick around, I'd say, and they will back off now.
They almost managed to burst the Tide down if he didn't mech there.
Yeah,
That
and
was
the
what
mech
they were
even
trying
gave
to
him
do.
the boost to the armor, too, so. All of that, every little bit counts.
So right now, let's see CDEC. I think this game you might want to get a medallion so you get Roche faster. Okay,
As
they
you
have
say
medallion
it,
now.
they do it. They've got the urn, they've got the medallion, going for these cheap, cost-effective early game items. Yeah.
Their timing is coming right now.
Invisibility.
Whether the Tide, he has a cloak though. Wonder if he wants to go into like a glimmer. Pipe doesn't feel like it's gonna be helpful against a lot of the spells, just the SF in general. But
I mean, is
I could see
Glimmer
them
really
still
that
going.
useful this game? You've got
Yeah,
plenty of
the track.
detection. There's not that much magic. There's just the SF with Magic Burst.
Probably just a casual cloak and then you get a big attack. Oh no, Jules.
Bit of an interesting little cloak pickup, though. I mean, there isn't that much magic damage coming out, particularly.
Yeah, it's mostly physical.
Mineski just trying to buy more time to farm. Jules goes down, but Cuckoo continuing what he does best. Just farming around the anti-mage at the bottom lane. Like pressure to a tier 1 as well, and with CDC looking to group up and push towers. Split push is going to be the answer for Mineski. But CDC aren't having any of it. They TP down. Just Tusk for now, and we'll be looking to defend this tier 1.
That was such a ballsy TP. He TP right in front as well.
CDC are far enough ahead, he's probably just like, they're not going to go on me. They're going to be afraid if I TP in. And, well, he was right. Possibly waiting for another TP now. We'll
At this point, CDEC doesn't want to give
Oh, they're
any
TPing in the
trades.
trees here. He didn't see that one, but the... Oh, he snowballs into Ryu. Still the cooldown there, and the nice Ice Shard. Gonna catch Ryu out. He's lost his sprint now as well. Or his punch available. Gets a second sprint off, but here comes Shiki Ryu saying, take me, Roche. Take me, take me. Not gonna happen.
Roshan?
Oh, perfect.
This is convenient.
Yeah, don't mind if we do. Bring in the medallion and they're ready to go. Cuckoo blinks through the river. What is Jesse Vash up to here? Careful, my son, careful. Protection limited. They've got dust here though, so I imagine likely to pop a dust as Roche is about to go down. We'll see if they're going to get this one. Roche claps and they get the familiar stun. Jesse Vash. No, not going to get the sneak.
That was actually a huge tell when the Roshan claps and there's two heroes hitting the Roche.
Yeah, unless the familiars don't proc it, do they, or?
No, they don't.
Okay.
You have to have three melee stuff hitting the Roshan.
Well, familiars were like in melee range. Like if a ranged unit gets in melee range, it will still clap.
Oh yeah. So was it close? I thought it was far enough though. Okay, I could
I
be
don't
wrong.
know if familiars count because they're flying, so they may not count. But it's not like it has to be a melee unit per se.
Yeah. That was not a correct explanation. Not a melee
No.
unit. Melee range.
Either way, even if it wasn't an obvious tell, I was expecting them just to dust anyways, just to be safe. But
Yeah, because they didn't have sentry. Like you see players right now nowadays, every time they're Roshan, there's an Invis hero, they don't have sentries, they drop a stun. Like Lina would stun before the Roche dies, or like anything, like any AoE spell they would just use before the Roche dies, so you make sure you pick up the Aegis.
we'll see.
Keyboard problems.
Okay. Well, CDC in firm control, up 5,000 gold. Mineski on the verge of being 2-0'd here. We'll see what kind of comeback is available.
This game is really tough for them.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough group. You've got eHome and Alliance battling it out in the other match. I believe eHome did win game 1 fairly convincingly. But definitely a group where it's... I feel like eHome heavy favorites to win the group, but the other three teams fairly competitive, and even CDC and eHome maybe a slightly even matchup between those two teams.
This group, they have to be able to get whatever, like you win whatever games you can win, basically, if you're Mineski.
Yeah. Mineski Alliance, that could be a interesting lower bracket matchup. Two very different
Alright.
playstyles.
Yeah, but right now, if you look at what they need to do to win this game, they need to reach a point where maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes, they have a lot of items on AM and SF.
Yep.
And they speed push hard enough for them to actually reach that point. And CDEC are just going to look to use their map control right now and just end the game as soon as they can.
Well, they're
Probably
taking
with the
every
next,
tower and
with the next Roshan, I think they probably can high ground.
Yeah.
Maybe even with this Roshan, how long? It's 2 minutes.
and they're gonna, if they 5-man too much, AM will just be split pushing away. So I feel like they're gonna have to keep addressing the split push. So more likely we see them get both tier 2 towers. They may get some deep
and
wards.
this is the sort of game Lina might actually want to get a Shadow Blade to catch the
Yep.
game as well.
Yeah.
Radiant's middle
I like that
tower is
idea.
under attack.
Cheeky now. Come back, defend against the top lane. Just confident that his team can push without him.
These 4 heroes are strong enough. Even
Yeah,
with
they can win 4v5.
The Aegis hero is not even there, but they're still pushing.
They're so strong right now. This is 4 and this is something CDEC are also really good at. Whenever they get these early game leads and their opponents aren't fighting them, they go back for this Gyrocopter Helm of the Dominator and just start stacking Ancients. We saw it last game. They're doing it again this time. They managed to always secure their late game while being aggressive and fighting constantly.
They might also go back for the Frost Mage. He's still very good this game. The last game, Aggressive did the Frost Ogre. He dominated a Frost Ogre for the Slada against the Slada. This game, it could be the same thing.
Alright. Well, they take another tier 2 tower, and that's all the tier 2s taken from the map. And time to get down some of those deep wards, starve out Mineski, try to keep them in their base as much as possible.
Gem as well. They need a gem next after this.
Well, Visage is a great gem carrier, so maybe just waiting to farm the gold. They're going to smoke, and it looks like they may catch
Blink.
Ryu. Blink Gush, Snowball there as well. They'll get the chain stun they need, and Ryu, we dropped down. Clean pick off to CDEC.
Well, at least he already got his blink, so he didn't lose too much gold there. He just gave away some valuable experience and go to the enemy team. But it's still not the worst thing that happened there.
It's very much all about the anti-mage for Mineski, it feels. The SF to some extent, but he's just going to be playing a lot more defensively and looking to tank up, while anti-mage has to be the one pressuring and split pushing the lanes.
Yep, I agree. Because this is not the type of the game SF you can, okay, I have a BKB, I'm just going to split push, because there's just... There's Warrior's Punch to be able to cancel his BKB TP, so it's not a safe bet that he can split push and just BKB and TP out.
And Lina likely to have an... You mentioned the Shadow Blade, but whether you go for a Shadow Blade or not, Ag Scepter will be picked up either before or after such an item, so...
Right.
This SF cannot really be off alone ever.
Oh, BH is here. He scouts out the Gyro here, so they know he's farming the Ancients.
Not that he can stop this.
But you don't get experience from Ancients, so...
He's just hoping that Gyro gets low, but Gyro's playing this very cautiously. Gets down the Sentry as well.
You can never get low. You can never get low when you have a creep tanking for you.
The rate you're like thinking, oh, it's a range group, it'll die. No, this range group is 1400 HP. One of the other nice little changes the hero, the Helm of the Dominator
Dire's
received.
top tower is under attack.
And that's
So he
just
goes for
Gyro
the
making
blink.
sure he stays ahead of the AM and SF in farm. He'll continue to stack, I imagine.
Yeah, and Shiki went for a blink, so it's still a good item against AM. You want to be able to catch him.
Yep.
Oh, top lane.
Oh, they're going to TP in now. Lena's there,
Catch him.
ready. Jules
Blink,
is in
3
biz.
seconds.
Can they catch out Rage Potato?
Oh,
The
he-
Ice Shots goes through. The Winter's Curse will save Jace. Ravage comes too late. Jules will go down, but SF is out.
That was worth.
Well played, Jules.
Yep, that was really, really good support play from the Wyvern there.
Okay. I think AM...
Tight Ravage down. Can they push now? That is the question.
Is Aegis... Yeah, Aegis is down. I don't think they... They're not going to push high ground, really, off
With,
that.
with the Ravage, maybe you can, but now without Ravage, it's like that Ravage was so good for Mineski, actually.
But at the same time, Winter's Curse is down, which is... Like, I feel like Mineski need Winter's Curse more than CDEC need Ravage in a team fight. Just...
True.
Because of how far ahead CDEC is, the Winter's Curse works in Mineski's favor because you're using all their items
but
against
you're still not confident when you're running
No,
right now
no,
without
I-
Ravage if you see that.
I don't think you
Something
can
might
just
still-
go push high ground. AM is
They have
quietly
to
getting
take-
there too. Vlad's Battle Fury going to start building towards Mantis Style next.
Yeah, they're gonna wait for BKB on the Gyro before they go. So BKB timing would be around the same time where second Roshan would spawn. So they're gonna have BKB and Aegis on Gyro before they go high ground next. And if Mineski can survive that assault,
Cuckoo, he blinked past. Garda was there looking for him with the blink dagger. Very close to finding him, although Lina was fairly far away.
Illusion.
So we do see Tide go back for a blink. Looks like the cloak didn't end up getting turned into anything. An ambassador ring, so possibly a Vlad's for XZ.
yeah, they need to finish the game is a good item for their team composition. So we have the gem as well on the Visage that we were mentioning a few minutes ago. So they have basically everything they need right now, to except for the Aegis obviously and the BKB. So they just need to wait for Roshan spawn and they will have their BKB at that same amount of time, and they will be able to siege high ground. So Mineski has a few more minutes to breathe before the next siege comes. So we'll see what they can actually complete on the AM before. Maybe they can actually get the Manta. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe not. It might be really close. He might not have Manta for the next fight.
Well, he's probably just thinking, I don't really want to fight anyways, so.
Yeah, but you're gonna be forced to fight, right? You don't have a choice. You look at the map. There's all these tier, like you're never gonna go
tier
into
ones
a
even
scenario.
to go through.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to go into a scenario where he's hitting my Rex and I'm hitting his Rex as well. Then you're fine. That's not gonna happen this game unless they take out all the towers.
Man, look how safe Aggressive's playing at top. I say that he now pokes his nose out, but he was positioned very cautiously for a long time. And see, he knows he's alone up here, so.
And he wants to get his BKB without dying.
Bounty and AM can't really kill him on their own unless if he gets far enough away from the tower, they might go for it. But I think Cuckoo just wants to.
They're gonna go mid. They have the Ravage up right now. They're not gonna wait for the Roshan. So
they're gonna try and force it.
They feel confident.
AM looking to creep skip up top, do any damage he can. Aggressive gets tracked up. His BKB being delivered via courier soon. Here we go, Blinking onto the high ground. They're going to block the Winter Wyvern. That means no Winter's Curse for the defense here. They're now going to belt away onto the tier 3 towers. Mineski, they're in some trouble here. They've got to hold this one. Their winner bracket life at stake here in the Frankfurt Mages. Group D. Ryu trying to go forward. BKB from SF. He gets punched up in the air. Now he can wreck them. Can turn and unleash. But CDEC, they've already backed off. They get low, but no kills go their way. Anti-Mage has now returned back to the fray. To get involved, the Urn Child is going to heal them back up as well, so CDEC can continue forward. Gyro's BKB with Ravage still.
They don't have Requiem and BKB on SF. This is hard defense for Mineski.
Got Winter's Curse at least now. Aggressive goes forward, just going to throw out the flak, do what damage he can. Keep Mineski at bay. Doing this without Aegis. Blink Crush comes out. Trying to delay them. There's the curse on Aggressive. He's amped up as well, but the damage they need is not quite there. Guard on the backline goes down. Ravage kind of off the mark, catches just Ryu on the slider. Here's AM. What's he going to do, though? The BKB on Aggressive. Still got a decent...
They have buyback on slider. They can buy back and defend this.
They're going to do just that. Aggressive BKB wearing off. He's keeping in fairly aggressively. He blinks backwards, though. Slider decides not to commit. Now XZ could be in some trouble. They've lost the Tusk only. Looks like they'll lose XZ on the Tusk. The Mana Void makes sure of that. Charge forward from the Slider. Looking for another Blink Crush, has it in a couple of seconds, but needs to get closer, needs a sprint.
They might lose the gem here.
Cuckoo doesn't go back in, has another Blink. Has he go for this one? Yules is there, and looks like Ryu will be repelled. Lose just a familiar off of this, and CDC hold onto their gem as well. Felt like they were going to get more with that Slider buyback, and just the Tide kill, not really worth it for Mineski.
That Ravage was again not very, very useful for CDEC. They needed a much better connection there. So they
still won the fight though, right? From what, as far as I'm concerned, that was still a great play for them.
They were going to take Rex in that scenario because SF didn't have BKB and Requiem. There was no way that Mineski were going to hold that defense. And Mineski didn't lose the Rex was big for them.
Yeah. They're still alive. I mean, even if they lost the Rax, it wouldn't have been game over yet. But holding the Rax gives them a lot more breathing room. But like CDC is still in a position to take Roshan and just go for round 2 if they want to. In fact, it doesn't even look like they care about Roshan. They're just going down mid. Knowing that this melee Rax is still low in HP, there's still no glyph. They're just going to...
Yeah, they wanted to finish the job.
Yep. They can finish the Rax and then go back for Roshan. And with a BKB on Gyro, they're feeling pretty safe about this one. No Ravage even available, but Winter's Curse just coming back up. Jules is smoked up from the side. Blink Crush is there. Will they go for the Curse here? Aggressive is the target. He won't even get the BKB off. Meanwhile on the side, Jesse Bastion will go down. But they've lost Gyro. CDEC forcing this one too much. Jules on the backline's getting low, but still alive. Garda That minus armor, minus 17. Getting him very low. Blink forward from Cuckoo, a little bit too late to stop Gada. CDC may re-engage. They've got no Ravage for 20 seconds here. Shiki, though, rocks up, goes in on the Bimbo SF. He's got no BKB. The crush is nice from Ryu. Will help keep Raging Potato alive, and Raging Potato just looking to fight his way through this one. Dying Requiem. Not enough to get any kills here. Meanwhile, the backline's aggressive, looking for Jules. It's going to be Shiki who helps get the kill, but here's Cuckoo. Looking to get the Lina kill. That's a big pickup. Anti-Mage gets in. They still haven't got the Rax. Aggressives actually fall back for this one. They've got to get this Rax Winter, I feel. That's a huge loss. Mineski, hold on. They lose SF, but Anti-Mage completes a Manta style off of this.
Oh, Q's. His TP got cancelled. He has a gem.
It's gone. There's nothing CDC can do to protect it, and Jesse Vash picks it up.
That was so bad. They could have just waited for the Roshan. Oh dear. That
they didn't even have to wait. It was up. They could have just gone for it.
They might have just lost all their momentum with that.
It feels that way. They went all in to secure the melee racks, and Mineski very much on point with the way they held. They just knew they had to bring down the Gyrocopter before he gets the BKB off, and they did just that. Using the Winter's Curse, even with no heroes around, just for the lockdown, and it's Mineski going into the Roche pit. This is... Okay, let's say, Mineski, last game, Roshan was your undoing. Please don't let it be your undoing once again.
But again, if they actually secure the Roshan on AM, they more or less will be able to win the game. Like, you expect CDEC to be able to secure the Roshan at this point, and Mineski getting it is a huge bonus for them.
Not fuels. Not a place you want to be. Not a big loss. He's dead for 54. He actually bought back last fight, something we didn't take into consideration too much, but ultimately not a buyback that hurts Mineski too much.
Oh, they're running in again. They really don't care about this Roshan.
Man, this is very uncharacteristic of CDEC, I want to say. Normally they're their early games very aggressive, looking to fight a lot, but this is normally the stage of the game where they're a bit more methodical and go for Roshan, but we'll see if it pays off here. They're going all in on this one. They know there's no Winter's Curse for 25 seconds. They've got Ravage this time as well. Last time they did not have Ravage, importantly. They're feeling like they can at least get a range track. They want the melee as well. Mineski going to have the SF just going for the tier 2 top tower. They're going to blink forward here. Cuckoo gets punched up in the air. The Ravage there as well. Can they bring him down? They sure as hell will. AEM brought down, and that means the melee rack sure to fall. Most importantly, Wyvern still dead, and on the bottom lane, XZ tracked up for now. They need another tractor if they want to get that money. The tractor could be the comeback potential for Mineski. They buy back the Anti-Mage. SF goes down though. Without buyback, they need some kills here. Everyone's tracked up on the side of CDEC. The Winter's Curse, not very good. Locks aggressive down in place during his BKB, but they haven't really got the damage. Mana Void is there. Cuckoo can't afford to die. He just fought back. The crush is there. Cuckoo still alive, gets off a Mana Void onto aggressive. He goes down, blink back to safety, and Shiki can't quite bring him down. Ryu gets low, but still alive, and CDEC only have 2 here, and XZ, he's got the force to blink backwards. They'd love to get this kill. The track going to get dispelled by the Guardian Greaves, and that also heals Shiki up a bit. CDEC do not lose too much, and they force buybacks, as well as claim a Rax.
That was quite even though. Like, it was still an expensive defense, but at the end it was still quite even because they got the gyro. So he
and
died.
AM did not die a second time, most importantly.
There was a lot of track money as well for the whole team, so if Mineski can actually secure this Roshan, they are still in a very good spot of coming back into the game. Man, this is so risky what CDEC is doing in this game.
Oh, they're coming, they're looking to stop this Roche. Doesn't look like they'll get here in time. Shiki's nearby with a blink dagger. They blink in. Nope, not going to go for the steal. Anti-Mage picks up the Aegis, and now XZ and Q possibly in some trouble. Blink crush from Ryu. Oh no, no blink, just the crush. And he's got a blink, so looking to chase down XZ possibly. Another crush in a couple of seconds. He could hit 2 with this one. Will do so! Ryu, this time on point, making up amends for previous games. And Lina thrown up in the air. Will get the Yules into a blink. Can they get Shiki? They guessed wrong. He's out of there. Oh, and tied as well. Gets back to safety. Mineski. Huge win for them, but it could have been even better.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, it was still a really huge win for them. But right now, they can actually use this Aegis to buy so much time for their heroes to actually farm. And it's very tough for CDEC to decide whether they can actually push now or they have to wait for... Because you don't really want to wait as well. Waiting against AM is a really, really risky proposition as well. So CDEC is in a very, very tough spot right now to decide what they want to do, whether they wait the Aegis out or they just go right now.
It was fine while the Gyrocopter was ahead, and he was like a good, like 2,000 net worth ahead of the Anti-Mage for a long, long time, kept on stacking his Ancients, was itemizing pretty well, but now that he's got this like, kind of BKB SNY build and Anti-Mages got the Aegis and now out farming him, this is where the Gyrocopter will start to fall off.
Yeah, this is where the Gyro would actually just start to fall bigger and bigger behind. But right now, he's still in fairly reasonable shape versus the AM.
Well, the problem is
But
it's
the
not
thing-
just AM, it's the minus armor of Slaughter and Shadow Fiend as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the Manta this game compared to the
Smoke
last
up, they
game.
want Bimbo. Can they get him with the insta-blink stun? They blink Ravage,
Oh,
it's off the
no.
mark! XC! Or should I say PGG? Oh boy.
They had vision of him, right? Okay.
There was
you know,
smoke.
they placed-
No, they placed the
they
ward
placed the
afterwards.
wards later.
They saw him farm the lane and went for a blind blink Ravage. They were hoping to probably have Garda initiate with a blink Walrus punch, but he was a bit far away.
Oh no, that is a lot of time now with the Aegis and Ravage down. Mineski is on the offensive.
Dire's middle
Yep.
tower is
They
under
want to
attack.
go high ground possibly even. They know this Ravage is on
CDEC
cooldown.
is
and
really, they are really impatient this game, you can tell.
just so like this is
Dire's middle tower
just
has fallen.
you don't see CDEC play like this normally. They're going in looking for aggressive. The Crush gets dodged by a BKB. Now he's going to turn on to Rio. The Laguna deleted from the game. Didn't even get a chance to use his BKB. Oh no, he did get to use it, but the Ags Laguna, of course, going through. And Mineski will be repelled, losing their most important hero in some ways, the Slaughter. Not as far as carrying goes, but he's their initiator. He's the one who controls the team fights. And without him, they will not push.
This game is going to tip into Mineski's favor very soon if something bad happens again for CDEC. It'll be very, very difficult for them to deal with the AM in the next few minutes. Aegis is going to expire, and they have to make a play. If they don't succeed in pushing down the Rex at bottom, the game will become very, very difficult for CDEC.
Yep. What's the item for Anti-Mage, do you feel? Do you go aggressive and go for the Abyssal, or do you want something a bit more defensive?
I think probably Hard against the Laguna.
He just picked out the
of,
recipe.
Hard is really good. Like, you don't want to go BKB against that. You just need to survive the burst, and then you'll be fine.
Oh, bottom lane, they know Jules is down here. He's trying to TP and he'll make it. Familiar stun, very close. And
They have to push right now.
I mean, they're
They have
grouped
no
up
choice.
aggressively looking to push. They know the Aegis is still there for now, but it's got only about a minute left on it. They see AM mid, but this is not the kill they want to go for. They're gonna blink in, not gonna catch him. Cuckoo gets out of there in time, and I guess hoping they could maybe kill him twice, but
He's so close to his heart though. He doesn't wanna die right now with the Aegis.
yep. Oh, that courier, careful. There we go. Picks it up, flies off to the side. Dire Ward will spot it, but it doesn't look like anyone's in position to bring it down.
But this is getting very, very stressed for CDEC because they can easily lose the game right now.
Oh, and
They
as
were in-
the Hearts picked
they
up,
were
they
in
smoke
cruise
up.
They were in cruise control before all the chaotic things happened.
Here we go. They're charging right at CDEC. Blink escape from CDEC. I think they spotted the SF. He popped out of smoke. But
30
Ryu's still in
seconds
position for a blink crush here.
30 seconds for Aegis to expire, I think.
Yeah. The
gonna
Radiant
end
Ward,
soon.
they saw CDC just floating around, so they went for an aggressive play with the vision they had. And that's something where CDC have really struggled the last 5-10 minutes, is the fact they don't have the gem anymore. Losing that has really cost them and given Mineski a lot of map control. Definitely something I would expect them to be picking up a new gem sometime in the near future. Maybe just not in their budget right now.
Let's see who can actually buy it. Tai kind of needs his next item. Tuss is getting Lotus off, so I guess it's only... But no one can actually buy it though. I think Visage, you want to transition with your Aghanims right now at this stage. Because it's getting very worrisome for CDEC. They need more late game.
I think
'cause
Tide
it
just
doesn't
buys
feel like
it. Tide's probably the, I guess, the hero that has the money.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't need
there we
anything
go.
now. Yeah, he buys it. If he's closer to maybe a refresher, then maybe he doesn't buy it.
This is very much like a utility Tide, going for the Vlads, the Greaves. He's not making a jump towards any big items right now. and will not be doing so anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think he can actually get any more items unless they win. I mean, even if they win the next fight, it means they win the game, right? So I don't think the Tide will be getting more items. He just needs to make sure he lands a good ravage, and his job is done.
Well, that's just it. CDC already up a lane of Rax. If they get a second lane of Rax, it puts him in a huge advantage. It feels like with the one lane, they're only on equal terms at best right now.
Yeah, because of the lineup. The lineup allows Mineski to actually stay in the game even with one lane of Rax down.
No, Anti-Mage is doing now on par with the Gyrocopter, and SF as well. Like, we haven't seen much from the SF, but it's been very much a game where Jace just minimized his deaths this game and done much better than what we saw last game from him. So very good defensive play, and they're playing around the fact they have an Anti-Mage and have the stronger late game very well right now.
This game, they're relaxing and chilling.
Whoa. War is punchy. Got the full sub out, though. Gets blocked in by the shards, and he'll lose a gem.
He lost a gem.
Gift it back to CDEC, or will he?
Nope. See it?
It gets left behind. Maybe the eye shard's just blocking it off, so that's handy.
Alright, so I thought they were actually gonna regain their gem, but that was like a very minimal casualty for Mineski. It doesn't really matter.
It's like one of those Pylite eye deaths where it's just like the bounty hunter is meant to be... I actually don't think he needs to be carrying the gem around, because he may need to just roam around the map to get vision for his team.
Probably want the Wyvern with the gem, because he can actually dewalk.
If you have the gem on the bounty, I feel like he needs a blink dagger or something to be able to escape those situations. But for now, we'll see what the next couple of pickups are going to be. There's the Lotus Orb for Tusk to help protect against the Winter's Curse especially, and also dispel off the amplified damage on himself as well as teammates.
Yeah, we'll see whether they get the biggest play, which is the Echo Shell on the Curse.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Mana Void. I guess it's very unlikely you get a big Mana Void off.
Well, it's not only amp damage, but it also dispels track. So, I mean, this is a fantastic Lotus Orb game. Just for the repel factor.
So right now, Mineski just looking to continuously buy space and buy time. And CDEC is just trying to, because they failed in a few pushes already. So they are trying to wait for, this time they are trying to wait for the Roshan.
Alright, well, we'll see them play
They
defensively.
got cocky, overconfident, my friend.
Did you see Mineski looking to go aggressive when they feel Roche is respawning, or are they just content to sit back and continue to farm and play this slow-paced and more split?
They might actually be able to win the fight though, I'm not sure. Because if they get a very good indication with the curse, they can actually burst the gyro down with the AM.
Continuing to just creep, skip, and split push. Here we go, mid lane. CDC get very close to finding some pickoffs here. Tracks come out, force up is their Garda. Not going to get the ice shards off, and Roche now respawns. Neither team to scout it just yet, but it will be on their minds. A DD rune, of course, as is the tradition. Oh, Roche is there? Let's spawn a DD rune. And Q will scout it out. Probably letting his team know, guys, we've got a DD and we've got Roche. Aggressive. He's tracked up, though, so Mineski know this is going on, but they're really not in a good position to contest it.
Yeah, but Kuku is still scared though, because he doesn't see the Lina.
Yeah.
Like Lina plus the Tusk can actually kill him, like with one guy TPing in.
He now comes back up. It looks like they feel confident enough. They see the Tusk here. It's Bounty Hunter getting some scouting information for the team. The nice Blink Crush from Ryu, followed up by Winter's Curse. They want Garda. Can they get him? He's still got the Lotus Orb. Is he going to use it? Puts it on himself. The Warrior's Punch comes out.
Oh, the Rex at top lane, Rex.
Someone's going to get back in defense. Space created from Ryu. Who's got the TP? Where's your TPs? I don't see any. Lina, Shiki doesn't have one. No one's got a TP. Mineski get one lane. They could go mid. They could go throne. This could become a quick face race. What's the play, CDEC? The throne is the call for Mineski. They're all in. No one's got a TP, Winter. They're going for the base race here, and CDEC do not have the best lineup to damage this one down. They've got the Vlads. Slider going to buy back. They can create space. Aggressive. Buys a Desolator. He wants to amplify this push. They're going for the towers. They're pushing too damn slow. Oh no, this is not looking good for CDEC. Mineski going through the second T4 tower. Here comes the first TP. It's going to be the Tusk, but this is SF
with a Desolator. Antimate's there as well. Mineski are breaking through the base, and it looks like they won a Game 3. No one else can TP back. Gyrocopters finally arrived, but the BKBSF, the Antimate will do it. Mineski! The Filipino Hope have forced the Game 3. Oh man, this was some of the best decision-making from Mineski and some very questionable decision-making from CDEC to just win this game for Mineski. Holy cow.
What is going on with CDEC this game? They were so impatient in ending the game. I understand it was the AM, but they needed to take every small step. Like, they are used to doing everything right, like all the small steps. They get a gem, they take Roshan, they wait for this, they wait for that, they wait for items to complete, and they don't usually rush things. But this game, they were really overconfident. Because they won the first game like quite handily, and they felt like, oh, it's gonna be another of those games, but it wasn't.
Well, whew. Man, that's something to get excited about for the Philippines Dota scene, taking a game off the TI5 runner-up, and definitely agree, not CDEC's best performance, but for Mineski, I mean, it's a really strong Game 2. A Game 1, we kind of feel they should have won, so this is going to give them the confidence and composure to go into Game 3 thinking, hey, we can do this, we can win this game, and from there, anything can happen. So we'll see game number 3 coming up, guys. We've got Group D action underway here at the Frankfurt Dota Majors. Don't go anywhere. Mineski versus CDEC coming up soon. Welcome back, everybody. Time now for our Game 3 decider. Mineski taking on CDEC. It all comes down to this here in Group D. As far as the winner bracket is concerned, your road into the upper bracket of the main event a lot smoother if you can win this series. And well, Mineski, they've tied things up 1 game apiece. We're going to hop right into the draft as I welcome my co-caster, Winter. Things flying along here. Winter, are you excited for game number 3?
Hell yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Are you happy for your SCA brethren doing well, at least forcing a game 3?
Yeah, they're keeping our hopes alive.
Well, SCA Dota still kicking and fighting right now. They've got a tough challenge ahead of them as CDEC going to stick with their gut here. They're going to go right back into the Tusk plus Gyrocopter. This time around, though, Mineski, rather than the Slatter plus Shadow Fiend, go for the Slatter plus Winter Wyvern. Interesting to note the kind of change up here, but it feels like we're seeing the exact same draft for a 3rd game in a row, Winter. I mean, game 2 was different to game 1 because we had the anti-mage, but as far as like the opening 3 or 4 picks, these 2 teams are not changing anything.
Yeah, the 2 games, the first game, Mineski should have won. Second game, CDEC should have won. It's not much about the hero picks. It's just execution that wasn't really good. And if you talk about the openings in the last game compared to this game, Slada plus Wyvern, compared to Slada plus SF, I think Slada plus Wyvern is much more flexible, even though it's Radiant Shadowfiend. I think if you open with 2 of your cores, it's usually not so flexible in your picks. So I think I like this much better. And they get their Night Stalker this game.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Their draft is looking really, really strong right now. Very solid.
You got to imagine the 4th pick is going to be the Shadow Fiend or Wind Ranger. Mostly they've been preferring the Shadow Fiend so far. And
because CDEC have been opening with the gyro in all their games, it doesn't allow their draft to be much more flexible in terms of like when they actually draft maybe some other heroes first, they can actually put aggressive on maybe an Ember or something else, something much more carry heavy like Ember or PL. But because they have been opening with gyro a lot, it's very, very stable team fight, very solid carry, but it doesn't scale much better like AM, or it doesn't scale as strong as the other carries.
It's the first time I'm asking at the Night Stalker, but if CDC want, the one flexibility they can do is the Tusk, playing him either as an offlaner or as a support, and Darkseer is still in the pool, something CDC have not been able to get their hands on.
Yeah, you're right.
They banned Brood instead this time.
They banned out the Viper and the Brood was the last ban the last game, so
this time around they bumped it up from 5th ban to 4th ban.
Because they were worried about the Brood, what happened in first game, so they kind of don't want that anymore. So second phase ban. Okay. So that actually opens up the Dark. I think the Darkseer would be a really good pick for them right now. This is very, very, very strong draft. Like Tusk, Darkseer, then they have Gyrocopter, Vacuum Calldown. It's very solid for them.
I'm really surprised to see CDC, like, I feel like the one pick that last game, they keep going back for this Visage. Not that Visage was a weak pick, but Dazzle is going untouched against Slada SF drafts. Like, why do you not pick Dazzle against Slada SF? That to me is just criminal right there. Like that, there is no rhyme or reason to that in my mind.
I mean, I guess they don't really care about that so much. Like certain
they should care, Winter.
Certain teams will pick Lich to counter the amp damage or any defensive spell, but it feels like CDEC are just very concerned about getting their, like, they just want to get what they want to do, get their picks and just run it. They don't really feel that it's so important to counter what Mineski does. Like, I always get that feeling from CDEC. They, regardless of who they're facing, what type of lineup they're playing, they're just going to run their game, their play, their tempo, and they just try to play. They are not like EG where they always try to maneuver, outdraft the opponents and outplay the opponents, or even Secret. They are more of a team that focuses a lot on just delivering what they want to do in the game.
Okay, well, AA going to come out for CDC with a Bounty Hunter. So this locks Tusk into the offlane position. Last pick going to be the mid hero for Shiki, and
this
different draft.
This is like a very weird AA pickup here. There's not much like stuff that it counters apart from Embrace, and then you don't actually have a hero that, like, sometimes you see teams pick Nyx and A, or A plus Ember Spirit, A plus Cloudwork, stuff like this are very, very good combination in team fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they can still go back for Darkseer, but I think it's quite an obvious ban for Mineski.
Darkseer, they need a mid.
Oh yeah, they can't do the right. You're right, because they have the bounty as well. They can't do Darkseer anymore.
They're looking for like
yeah.
a Lina or a Dragon Knight type pick, depending on what they want. Whether they want something. Oh,
They need stuns though because they have A and
yeah,
BH.
that's what I'm looking at. I guess Dragon Knight as a reliable stun. Lina not bad, but
Dragon Knight is better this game, I think, because of the Slada.
Yep.
I don't know. It doesn't. Their draft is not very solid this game. The last 2 games were solid, but not this game.
Well, we'll see. Last ban onto an Ember Spirit. Surprised to see them worried about Ember when you've got Slada, Wyvern. You've got 4 heroes that can all like lock down Ember in place and lots of
but
physical
it's
damage.
It's still a very good synergy hero with the A, like I mentioned. The cold, the chilling touch plus the ice blast and everything, and the cold feet with the searing chains. Everything works very well together, and even the vortex buffs up the Ember's damage a lot. AM ban, really?
Well, Cuckoo normally plays the Wind Ranger as well. Maybe it's not something CDC are aware of, but...
Yeah, they're not aware of that, yeah.
Oh, well, actually, no, Jay plays Anti-Mage, so they could have done Anti-Mage for Jay, so...
Yeah, but their lineup feels like they just need something more aggressive, and they are going to be able to run over the Gyro this game. I just feel that way, like, something they can fight early. Even Juggernaut this game would be nice for them.
10 seconds remaining.
NS plus Slada off lane, Wyvern plus Jog, then Wind Ranger mid.
5 seconds remaining.
We'll find out what Mineski going to do. Another pick they do something. If they want to go a bit greedier, Mineski known to run quite a bit of Spectre
Alchemist?
as well. Well, Alchemist? I was thinking Spectre, but...
Oh, Alchemist is not so good versus Ice Blast, yeah. Maybe Spectre.
It's okay
But they don't.
this game.
The thing is, like, they don't have to be greedy. versus
No,
this lineup.
they
just
don't have
need
to,
be able
but
fight.
last game they didn't have to be greedy as well, but yet they chose to go Anti-Mage. That's just where I
know.
feel like they may feel
Yeah,
it's
but
safer.
they were not supposed to be in the last game, but
No?
whatever.
I don't know if Mineski look at it that way, though, Winter.
Juggernaut.
They go Jug. So much safer pick and something that can fight early. Great against Gyro. Get out track.
This was what I expected the last game, the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, so it's like quite a strong carry, and it's very good versus Gyro because generally late game you don't really need an AM to beat the Gyro. Like Juggernaut is so strong versus Gyro because you can't do any. How can you actually itemize to fight Juggernaut as Gyro? You have to rely on your teammates. That's the only way you can do it.
There we go. Dragon Knight picked up last week. Talked about getting some additional lockdown, especially now there's a Jug as well. Having an insta-stun to be able to gank and
It's the
catch him.
armor. He has the armor against Slada, so that's like 2 great points of getting that Dragon Knight in this lineup versus Mineski.
It's not Cuckoo on the Wind
But
Ranger.
it's not it's the other way around. Juggernaut and Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess regardless, it's still the overall strategy that matters the most.
No.
This game, CDEC's lineup has a lot of pressure to do very well in the early game, and they need to utilize the Dragon Knight and Gyro very well this game. Not like the last game. Last game, they can take things a bit more slower because they can actually win at a slower pace, but this game, they have to play very fast pace, and they have very little room for error this game because it's a Dragon Knight mid. So it's all down on the Gyro to carry, but then Gyro doesn't do well versus these heroes.
All right, well, we'll see the same early ward come out from Jesse Vash again in the off lane. We'll see if it's something CDC catch up and are aware of this time around. They've got a sentry at the ready.
Slada bought him the TP LL because NS has boots. He started with boots, so Slada actually pulled the NS the TP.
Ha, nice. Poor guy.
Yes, supports are getting,
Yeah, it's
more
75
priority
gold,
nowadays.
Not too big a deal. Will it be dewarded? Because something... Oh, aggressive. He's there with the sentry. Not going to drop it right away.
Yeah, this was the same ward, the 3 games. Oh, no, actually one of the games it wasn't, but 2 of the games.
Both games Mineski are Radiant. And you got to imagine teams like during the 5-minute break between games are maybe popping up the replay to see where some of these wards are. I feel like, or their coach/manager is
sentry.
telling them.
Oh, sentry. I thought he was going to do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see Bounty Hunter for Gata scout out the early Mineski rotation down bottom. It looks like both teams will grab a rune apiece. And unfortunately for Bounty, I don't think he scouted that ward from Jules. Oh no, he pings it now. It seems maybe it was scouted. And bottom rune will be snagged up by Mineski. Top one by Shiki on the CDC side. No big surprises as far as the lanes go from the 2 teams, it looks like, as very standard stuff comes out. Jesse Vash going to be roaming around, looking to basically counterplay the Bounty Hunter rotations.
Yeah, this game, CDEC has to be able to make sure that the bounty rotations work so they can actually speed up their timing though. So they're going to be under a lot of pressure to make the early game work for them. And with Jesse Vash around middle lane pressuring the DK, it's going to put him at a rough start.
Easy D-ward, Ryu. Both games I've seen him in this offlane slider with the sentry. He's found that D-ward and he finds it once more. And he's going to fight Q. This is an okay battle for him until aggressive comes out. Nice awareness, seeing the gyrocopter make the move off the creep wave, and it's a good start to his offlane endeavors.
Yeah, all he needs is just levels this game, and maybe the Night Stalker would come and help him out at certain point. Even before the Night phase, I think you can actually come and help the starter because AA is just a very easy kill if you catch him.
Okay. Well, similarly, XC in the offlane task getting some experience to start things off, using the Ice Shard trick to block creep waves in, and we'll see this tower now. Well, not the tower, but the Juggernaut force the last hit underneath his tower.
Yeah, and they didn't realize the cam was blocked as well, so they weren't able to do a double pull. So the creep wave will push, so the Tusk will actually get much more experience right now.
Oh yeah, this is handy for him. He throws a Nice Shard though, so maybe not going to push as much as he'd like it to, but early harass coming out from Jules with the Arctic Burn. We've seen Jules mostly in the last two games on the Wyvern prioritize the mid lane and helping out there, but this time around with the Night Stalker not feeling as much pressure to do so. Jules needs to be careful. No Arctic Burn, and here comes Skarta with an Orb of Venom. Possibly looking to get aggressive here on the Winter Wyvern, but you will be fighting into a Juggernaut Blade Fury, so always a tricky one to manage.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for them to get the kill. Even if they manage to get a kill, I feel like they would actually have to pay the price of losing one hero.
Yeah, bounty level 2 now, so you can get the Janata in the mix, and still a small window before Arctic Burn comes back up, but not sure if they want to go for this one. Tusk hits level 3 as well, so they've got a couple of key levels here, but looking like they're just going to, see Jules split off and just go for a little bit of casual harass. Just get him low so that when the Tusk does now next come in, you have got the Wyvern already slightly low on HP. Top lane, Crush comes out, aggressive. Not going to be able to do too much. Slider matching up pretty well against this lane. The sprint helps you get away from the Rocket Barrage, and there's no slows or lockdown for this lane with AA and Gyrocopter together, so a very manageable lane for a Slider.
Yeah, this lane is very, very good for Slider, like you mentioned, with the sprint. There's no way they can kill him unless he makes a mistake. I mean, there's a slow Ice Vortex, but unless he gets hit by, like,
it's okay.
Yeah, and you don't really see like homing missile early as well from Gyro, so there's very little kill potential. And with the Night Stalker rotating, they are the ones that can actually get a kill here.
Yeah, and just 0 mana sprint, so he's just like spamming out the sprint whenever he feels he's like wants to go in for a little, like try and get a CS. If he doesn't get it, he can sprint out. So using it very liberally.
He doesn't have
First blood, bottom lane. They've gone in. That was the aggression we talked about from the bounty hunter.
One though.
Yeah, that's
like
one for
I mentioned,
one.
it was good. They have to pay the price of losing one hero regardless.
Yep. And luckily for them, they get the first blood. If the first blood did not go their way, it would definitely not have been worth it. And not a 1-for-1 trade they'll want to make anymore, now that it's no longer going to be for a first blood bonus gold.
Yeah, and nighttime is going to pop soon, so we'll see how much.
Winter, what's going on mid? DK, 4 CS. What a stomping!
Man, it took me a few seconds to check. Oh my god, what is going on? 4 CS?
Night Stalker's been there a lot, which is partially why, but this Night Stalker's only level 2, so he hasn't been seeing that much.
I mean, I kind of. It's hard to expect him to lose it so badly, though.
You just spam your Breathe Fire. You bottle Crow.
You get one creep wave, 1 creep per wave, at least.
Yeah. By 4 minutes in, you should have, way more CS than this. You get a level 1 bottle because of your Breathe Fire, and you just rush bottle. There is no explanation or justification for having this CS. He should have at least like 15 CS right now, I feel.
Yep. Half of the Wind Ranger is acceptable, but this is way too bad. Way too bad.
Bottom lane, they've gone in. Blade Fury's going to dodge a little bit with the snowball, but he's going to walk right into them with this, and I imagine they'll turn and fight. XD, one last Ice Shards. Cuckoo gets low, though. That's a Cold Embrace and a Tango to heal him back up.
This is looking really, really bad for CDEC. They might just lose this game.
35 last hits, 13 denies to an 8 CS Dragon Knight. Very rarely do you see mid matchups like decide a game, but when it's this bad, It could. Cheeky shackled under the tower. Void there as well. Power shot not even needed. He's just going to go for the focus fire. And Jesse Vash and Bimbo get the kill at mid.
Oh my god, what is going on?
Crazy stuff.
They can't lose if they lose the early game, they're just gonna flat out lose this game. They can't do anything when it goes to mid to late game versus this lineup.
Tower is under attack.
No.
Oh my god.
What kind of adjustments can they even make at this point? Like, they've got a passive
There's
support in
no
the
way-
AA.
I mean, they can count on Mineski making mistakes and you punish it by getting track kills.
Okay.
But that's not a good way of counting.
You know,
counting
it's,
on your opponents.
it's the
to win
level
game.
6 gyro. That's the hope, I guess. But you can't actually gank Juggernaut. That's why Jug is such a good pick against CDEC, because you can't do that TP to the offlane and gank a Jug when he can just Blade Fury away.
And you can't kill. It's so difficult for him to kill his lane as well because of the sprint, because they don't have enough block.
Yeah.
This
Vince
is
got
weird.
win
Like,
run.
that's why I felt the ancient apparition was very weird here.
Yeah, normally
Their
you'd
lineup's
see teams
very
like
weird.
Terra Rubik or something with the gyrocopter. Here we go, top lane though. They're looking to get aggressive onto Rio. Pops the sprint. He's going to run to the right. And Shiki, he doesn't get the latch on. He's got a haste rune though. Praise to the Lord that is S4. He's chasing after Rio, and this haste rune should be able to at least secure him a kill. Doesn't make it to the high ground. If he got to the high ground, could have got another stun off perhaps. Jesse Vash now rotates him, looking for Q. Needs to be careful. Shiki still hasted up. Will wear off momentarily. We'll have another stun, and the Ice Vortex slowing him down. Once Jesse Vash, can he get him? The power shot comes in, snipes the AA. The breathe fire, just barely enough damage, and looks like Jay gonna get chased down here. The Tusk comes in. There's the cooldown. This is gonna be a big kill on the Wind Ranger in CDEC. They've salvaged ever so slightly their bad early game.
Is under attack.
It's the aggressive rotations on Gyrocopter. Again and again, this man finds ways to get his team into the game.
And they're gonna get a tower, maybe. With this,
they'll get
probably
some
not.
damage, that's all. They've been
Oh, this
breathe
guy
fire.
just
They actually
makes
might.
the-
They'll get close to bringing this tower down.
This guy just makes the appropriate rotations every freaking time. But they are still in a very, very bad spot right now.
I mean, for
with all
Mineski,
their
they'll be
lanes.
kicking themselves a bit because they could have just lost Slaughter and lost nothing else. It didn't have to go down like that.
Yeah, but they wanted to go for the extra kill. They got the AA kill, but it was not worth it.
No.
So, yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Ryu now. Still seeing
Guess it's not a Mineski. It's not a Mineski game if there's no mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, you know.
They play so risky.
They're gonna play hard mode. Top lane. Here comes Bounty and AA.
This game is the same as the first game. They don't have to do anything. They just need to relax and farm, and then their lineup will just ultimately overpower
Oh,
CDC.
nice tower kill. And they get the shackle. Shiki could be in some trouble here. It may be daytime. One more power shot coming up soon, but here comes the gyro again. The cold out. No, it's not going to land. He just gets out of range, gets thrown up in the air. Is there another rocket barrage? It's coming soon. Cold Embrace is there. Raging Potato getting low, but he's going to survive it with the help of the creeps to tank it. Mineski will turn it around. Slaughter elsewhere in the top lane gets a kill. Shackle shot. Omni Slash. This time it's Cuckoo with a rotation. The regen rune for Ghana. He's got an invis in 2 seconds. Should be able to survive. Is there detection? The Blade Fury. Can he get away? They're going to miss the crush. He manages not to power shot from Jay. Snipes him, and Mineski get a tower and a couple of kills, including a very important one on the gyro. That was a 3 for nothing and the
Oh
tier
my
1
God,
tower.
you know, at the back of the mind of CDEC, they might have just felt that they just lost the game there. That was so game losing for them, having that happen with their lineup.
They had to go for it though. Like, they had such a bad start. Like, that to me is still like the rotation you've got to try and make.
Yeah, true. That's right too. They needed to actually do something to come back into the game.
And it was
because they lost their lanes so badly.
If that snowball cooldown had just latched onto the Wind Ranger, it would have been a very different story, different outcome. Well,
Shit
with that,
happens, I guess.
it's a game of inches, Winter. Game of inches. Winter Wyvern now level 6, so there's Winter's Curse online. And on the Dire side, there's no track, no Ice Blast. Both these supports level 5, so they're at least close to their ultimates, but it just means that for CDEC, they can't just go... Like, normally this is where like they'd say, okay, let's just smoke up and go find a kill. They've got to wait for at least track to come online, and ideally they'll leave AA top to farm at level 6 and throw Ice Blast around the map.
Yeah, and you look at Kuku's item build as well. He's going for more stats heavy. Like he's not going to like a greedy, like maybe a Battlefield Rush or any farming item. He just wants to be able to fight. He knows that if they just win the mid game engagements, there's no way CDEC could actually win this game because they are a much stronger late game once more.
You can see the game plan. Dragon Knight holding onto a smoke. He's saying, guys, when we're ready, we are smoking and finding a freaking kill.
If they keep farming, they're going to lose the game. So basically, he has to dictate the tempo of the game with his Dragon Knight.
And it has to be the Dragon Knight. He's the setup. Bottom lane, they're going to go in for a Winter's Curse on the Garda. They'll Blade Fury him down with the dust. Normally, you don't see a Winter's Curse for a solo pick-off so much, but Mineski just happy to play a more slow-paced game here. Top lane, Ryu gets stunned up. Could be in a bit of trouble here, thrown up in the air, and, well, there we go. They'll secure the kill.
Did they use the smoke? They used the smoke, right? Because I remember they actually saw...
Yeah, it was on the DK, so it looks like they did. Yeah, because they bypassed the Radiant Observer Ward using that, and now looking to follow it up with a tower, I imagine.
Oh, this is...
Here come Mineski.
This is so anxious. This is so anxious for CDEC. They need to secure a very big advantage for the early game.
Mineski have Glyph and everything. I don't see this tower going down, and yeah, CDC realized it, and also realized that Jug could TP in with an Omni Slash. Doesn't have a TP for now. He's looking for this bottom tier 1 tower, and it looks like CDC want to make a play on it. Cuckoo goes in with a Blade Fury, now looking to possibly turn around for an Omni, but I think decides it's not a fight he wants to take. He's being snowballed after now. There's a couple of creeps there as well. Garda now going to slow him down. Does he go for the Omni Slash? He's got a healing ward. He needs to use it. Phase away. Can he get out of this one? Ice Shard's up in a couple of seconds. He misses it though. Oh, Cuckoo. Not going to get out though. Warrior's Punch, and yep, one last right click from Garda. That was almost a botched kill. Important for CDEC to get those, but they still lost their tier 1 tower. Denied by the gyro. They're going to lose a tier 1 at top as well. So Mineski get a couple of towers for it, but I'd say like an ever so slight mistake from them, although they're still very much in control.
Yeah, if only he had a TP instead of a Quelling Blade, he would definitely survive that. And he's done. He sold something for the TP, but he had the ban of Elven Skin just now.
That was, and very much like when I was looking at him as the fight was breaking out towards top lane, I was thinking, okay, all he needs is a possible TP to go up there, but Garda has done a pretty good job on the bounty hunter, getting a lot of scouting information.
As we learned from last game, Parker, TP is very important.
Yes, name of the game. So there's a few plays in Frankfurt who can tell you about that one.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Every time, Winterman, it's always me casting those crazy no TP games. It was the same thing at DAC.
The DAC game, were you casting that as well?
Yep, I was.
Oh, I think we were actually doing that game. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the two of us. Come on, Winter. I wasn't 100% sure I was you I was casting with, but yeah, that makes sense. Oh no, I was casting with Ben, wasn't I?
Was it? Maybe. Yeah, maybe I was.
I think I was casting with Ben. You were on the panel. Anyways, here we go. CDC. Lurking around this top lane. See what they can find.
Oh, they just randomly popped the dust there. They thought Garda was nearby.
Not the case.
But it's still very anxious for CDEC. They are looking to find any advantage they can from the map.
Yep.
As the game goes by, it's getting very, very hard for them. The longer they wait, the more difficult it gets.
Yeah. Jesse Vash only level 5 on Night Stalker. He's actually the lowest level in the game right now, and
yeah, but he did his job though. He secured so much space for the mid lane and the top lane.
And something which all it's going to take is like a fight or two where he stays alive, and he's likely to stay alive because he's such a low priority kill for CDC. They're much more likely to try and focus down a Wind Ranger or a Jug, or even someone like a support Wyvern who can do a whole lot more with the Splinter Blast spam as well as Cold Embrace, Winter's Curse. So
and just look at the net worth of these two heroes. The Wind Ranger and the Juggernaut. It's absurd right now for them.
And Slider about to pick up a blink, so
Mineski is having such a big... This 4k lead is actually bigger than it is because of the matchup, the lineup they have.
Well,
it feels like it's like a 7k lead that Mineski have right now.
And this is before they hit their timings. They're just now going to hit
as long
Ags and
as long as they don't make mistakes and they don't give away track kills, too many of those, they should be able to take this game.
Possibly a big if, Winter. You know, you never... There's a lot of pressure here. $3 million teams are competing for in Frankfurt, and we've seen crazy things happen. Secret lost a game to Newbie Young earlier today, so this is very much possibly a tournament where upsets can happen, and even a team with a comfortable lead. I mean, Mineski winning this would be an upset, but We've seen leads get thrown already here in Frankfurt.
Mineski has like the better draft this game. It's a similar case in the first game,
Yes.
but the first game they didn't execute. So if you're a Mineski fan, you just hope that Mineski pull their game together, make very few mistakes,
This is
and
solid.
they should be able to.
5-man smoke. They get their Blink Dagger on Slider. They get the Ags on Wind Ranger and level 6 on Night Stalker, and then say,
Roshan,
hey,
they're
let's
gonna go Rosh. This is the typical Mineski play. They smoke and they go for Rosh.
Not even going for kills. Very few. This is a very unique thing to Mineski because most teams would just go for kills here.
Oh, the toss.
Do they continue Roche here? Ice Blast
Ice
goes flying
Blast,
in. If they dodge, if they see the Ice Blast get used, they may look to re-engage. Doesn't look like they want to do so just yet. No, they're pinging to go back in, and it looks like they know Ice Blast is on cooldown. They've got the Healing Ward, and basically saying, CDEC, come fight us. We're strong right now. We've got Winter's Curse, and Roche is dropping too fast. Ace Rune on the ground here on the back line. It's going to be Jesse Bash called out. He gets out of the cooldown, though. No, he walks back in, and fortunately for him, that means he will go down. There's a Winter's Curse onto Shiki. Omni Slash as well. Shiki done for. Q as well in trouble. There's going to be an aggressive gyrocopter in the backline. It's being chased down by Ryu, but who's chasing who? Aggressive. TP out. Crushes. Oh, half a second too late. Whoo, Mineski. Get Roshan. Win the fight that comes. Could have been even worse.
God, Mr. Parker, Mineski is doing it this game.
They are doing it, Winter. Do you
They're in
believe?
such a big lead.
Laban Mineski.
They can't lose this, right, from this position.
It really does not feel like they can. I mean, it's 16 minutes in. They haven't taken a tier 2 tower. Casters are not meant to call games like early and stuff, but this is a draft which, I mean, the CDEC draft was very much all in on the early game. You draft Dragon Knight, Bounty Hunter, Gyro. Like, this is, you're looking to win the lanes and take towers one by one with DK. They have not done that. They have not succeeded. They've taken one tower the entire game. And that tower was denied. Garda now caught out. Nothing is going the way of CDEC. Their draft is just not finding anything right now. A comeback should not be possible, Winter, but...
The last game it was not quite possible, but it did happen. So.
Yes.
Until
Last
the
game, though,
throne goes
it
down.
shouldn't have been possible, but Mineski at least had a late game lineup. This time around, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it shouldn't
They
be...
had anti-mage.
It's the same thing where it shouldn't be possible, and on top of that, there's no late game for CDEC. So it's like, if they come back, what are they coming back into? A weaker late game. Whereas last game, Mineski, they could take advantage of the CDEC misplays to turn the game around. Swimble in top, Ryu, he's on the run.
How many?
The
how
great
many
escape.
mistakes Mineski-
Gonna run into a cooldown, gets off the crush. He may still survive this one just yet. He's got another blink soon, and hashtag space created.
How many mistakes that Mineski has to make for them to lose this game? A lot, I can tell you.
I mean, maybe if like you pull a Swindle Melons and accidentally kill off your Ag Scepter or something. Oh, I
They
dropped
can
my
still
Ag
be-
Scepter and it got denied. Uh-oh, suddenly
Dude,
the game gets
even
harder.
if that happens, they still have the lineup to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. They need to do that as well as feed away a fair few kills, so...
Okay, 2 team wipes with like 6 track kills.
Oh yeah, they've got track. So okay, we talked about the lack of comeback, but track is the one thing which I guess gives some possibility. And
You know, if the game is like they have track and we still feel it's difficult, you know how difficult it is.
Yep. It's
Usually against BH, like one bad mistake you lose, and you change the whole game with like 3 or 4 track kills.
Yeah.
But this game, Mineski has the lineup to allow them like at least 2 or 3 chances.
and
They
Mineski
can lose the
just
team
aren't
fight.
going greedy. Cuckoo on the jug, going for an SMY as opposed to any kind of greedy Battle Fury like you mentioned. So very much going for early game, more stats focused items. Wind Ranger rushing an Aghanim Scepter, just tanking. I mean, that's fairly standard stuff, but it's so difficult to get these comeback kills when they're this tanky. Oh, no detection. Unfortunate for Jules. He gets it delivered. Oh no, they hit the dust! Jesse Vash finally throws it. Meanwhile, top lane, the more exciting fight. Shiki gonna get caught out of the Dragon Knight. That's an Omni Slash kill. Raging Potato
my
gets
God,
low, but there's
they're
no
doing
follow
it.
damage. XE gonna go down. That's a gem loss! Cuckoo says, hey guys, come and grab this one. He may just pick it up himself. They did finish off the Bounty Hunter over on the dire side of the map, but that was a
I
big
think
win.
they just won the game, dude.
That's a... Not only do they win the fight and get a 1,200 gold change, but it's an 1,800 gold change with the gem. That's a huge gold swing with that gem. That was a big investment for CDEC, and it gets instantly lost.
That was their last way of coming back into the game as well, because they needed the gem to control the map so they can actually find the appropriate pickoffs with the BH.
Yeah.
But right now they even
Dire's
lose that.
middle tower has fallen.
So Mineski can just basically chill, wait for night every time, and just farm and out farm.
Oh, they're going to blink crush here. Aggressive. Going to get caught out. Does he look to re-engage? His TP's still on cooldown, and Ryu comes back in. He's got another crush. It's the power shot as well. Oh, man. Gyro goes down, and CDEC have just got to be looking at each other and asking the big question, what do we do? Is this just it? Are we going down to the lower bracket?
Oh my god.
They've got a blink on Dragon Knife, but even so, you blink stun someone. At best, you can kill one hero if you throw everything. And by everything, I mean the Ice Blast, the
if you're
shards,
CDEC right now,
the
you're
cooldown.
thinking you're thinking like, we better hope that Mineski throws the game away, because there's no way they can actually win this without the help of Mineski.
Yep. And right now,
There's like literally no way.
Mineski have confidence and composure. That game 2 victory for them has done a huge amount of good for this team and their mental state, I imagine. And right now, it's showing. Everything very disciplined right now. Possibly
Yeah, they
considering
just
just
need to
waiting
chill.
another
This
Roshan.
is the same situation like the first game. They just need to chill and they're gonna win the game. They
Well,
don't
first
need
game
to
they never
do-
chilled. They were nowhere near this far ahead in the first game. The first game they were kind of even on gold, but had the stronger draft. Like they never even had more than like a 1 to 2k gold lead in game 1. Right now we're looking at a 10k plus gold lead, and the better late game draft.
They have to just not make any risky plays.
Yeah.
Not give away track kill, and they're gonna be winning this game
Blink
for sure.
stun available. They get Cuckoo with this one.
Okay,
Bimbo
ditch,
says,
ditch.
you're on your own. Gets the Omni Slash off. Blade Fury gets that as well. Still going to go down. That's a track kill. He got the retrack off afterwards. Jay's re-engaged. He gets the shackle, but there's another DK stun. Uh-oh. Second track kill goes with CDEC. Cut your losses, Mineski. That's got to be the call here. Link
They
out.
should have ditched him. Oh my god.
I think he initially ditched him, and then he saw, oh, he got the Omni Slash off. I better go back in.
Oh no, they give away the gem back. Okay.
Oh, that was the gem as well? A gem and 2 track kills? Well,
okay.
Step 1, CDC, get a couple of track kills. Step 2, get a couple more. Step 3, keep on getting some more. They're just going to keep on doing this bit by bit. And you never know. Mineski have given a lifeline to CDEC here, and well, CDEC will take the tier 2 tower, as well as those track golds, back to the bank. And
That's
that was
huge tension. That was big. That was so big for them.
That's like a 3,000 to
That was
4,000
like
gold swing off of
That was like
2 kills.
5,000, at least 5,000 gold given away.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom
And with the
tower
gem,
is
it makes
under
a
attack.
big difference. As Tusk gonna be holding on to that one now. Jay, he's just TP'd down bottom on respawn. He's down here alone, and CDC are actually rotating. Gyro went top though, but they may still jump him here. Jay's gonna be careful. He's got the blink dagger. If he shows himself, he could be done for.
He knows they're there.
And
for
he's
sure.
well, he's trapped though because he's got no TP. He's gonna back off, but if you back off, you're backing right into the bounty hunter. And yeah, he blinks into the tree. Smart move from Jay. Bounty now with a completed mech back at base. They're gonna scout with the Ice Blast. Not gonna see him. Oh, did it? He blinked in. I think it was just out of range. They didn't ping or anything.
Okay, this is the fight. If Mineski loses this fight,
Radiant's
CDEC
bottom
will be back in the
tower is
game.
under attack.
Well, Mineski gonna smoke up, run right into Garda. Jesse Vash drops a sentry, but where's the dust? Garda gets slowed down once. They're gonna get the blink crush off Garda. A bit of a tough spot
No
here.
dust.
They don't want to
Oh,
commit
they
to
don't
this
have
one.
dust.
They didn't have vision of the rest of the CDEC draft, and they were worried about going blindly into a cooldown, I imagine, but they had that pick off if they wanted it. They play it safe.
They need to just make sure they don't give too much track kills away. That was the last 2 kills were really big.
Next
Same
Roshan
plan.
soon.
Chill. Try to not take too much risks and yet keep farming.
Every coin helps.
Well, for CDC, they've hit a couple more items now. Bounty with a mech, Tusk with a Ghost Scepter, and BKB coming soon for Gyrocopter. Not all hope is lost, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be an uphill battle for CDEC, but you can see now the
They
net
need-
worth of the
they need-
Gyrocopter getting closer.
They need more help from Mineski if they want to come back into the game. Another few more kills given away like the last time, then Mineski will be in a very big trouble.
Regeneration.
Some plan here. Mineski Grouping up a little bit. Feels like almost
They're probably
Mineski
gonna-
want to get a gem, but I guess first they want to complete the Ag Scepter.
They're probably gonna maybe try and smoke Roshan again.
Again.
judging by
CDEC
their
have got to be
habits.
aware of that play, though. I mean, they are going to be constantly scouting out for it. They're trying to de-ward around the pit itself. Right now, Mineski's vision is still pretty good despite the gem. The Ice Shards to scout up this cliff, but they have not checked the lower one below Roche, so this ward may go undetected, and it looks like that is exactly the case. So, a really nice ward from Mineski, bypassing the gem, and
Yep, and they have their dust now on the NS.
they smoke as Roche has come back up. Ice Vortex is
They're
there to
gonna run
scout
it-
it out.
Are they gonna run into Roche and then they're gonna see the ice? Okay,
I'm
no,
sure they
they're gonna
realize
try
they've
and
got
get
to win a fight, and they're drawing lines directly at CDEC. CDEC have the high ground, though. This is risky. Shiki's in position. As is aggressive, no aggressive. He's running right towards them. Mineski going to catch vision of him soon.
nighttime.
XZ is there. They pop the nighttime. XZ gets ignored. Instead, they go for the blink crush on Shiki. They want the dragon. Aggressive. He gets Winter's Curse. Nice call down. Raging Potato gets slow. Still alive. Goes for the courier of all things. Snowball. Jay goes down. And now Mineski going to buy back the win range. An important fight. Gyrocopter slow. The Ice Shards will save his life. And Cuckoo can't get him. Mineski have lost 2. Possibly more. Ryu is on the run. They've also committed a buyback to this one, and only a Dragonite is dead. Oh boy.
Why are they trying to help CDEC? What is going on?
They're going into Roche though. They're saying we used a buyback. We better make it count. Can CDEC stop this one? The mech from Ghana coming in clutch as well as some huge Ice Shards. The Roche is dropping fast and it looks like
Hold
it's going
on,
to be too
coming up
fast.
soon.
Ice Shards is there with an Ice Blast. Aegis gets picked up by Wind Ranger. Jesse Bash definitely to go down. And they may even lose Wind Ranger not just once but possibly twice. Shackle not going to land. Bimbo. He's in trouble. Can he get the blink out? He has it on respawn. Rocket Barrage will be there. Doesn't get the blink. Gets a 4-star from the white. What? Wait, no, wet 4-star.
What's up
Why?
with the Slada, dude?
Oh,
Dude,
Slada. I was like,
dude.
where is the Slada? Slada forced him, then TP. Damn.
That was not worth it. Oh, track kill again. That was the last thing that you want happening if you're Mineski, and it's happening. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, Jay,
They-
careful. And we're back to dead even on net worth, Winter. The mountain has been climbed. CDEC. They're on top of Mount Everest. The question is, can they get back down safely?
That as tribute.
Getting up is a challenge. Getting down is, well, they're going to have to do that. And without a very good late game lineup.
Why are they doing this to us, Parker?
They got to give not just us, but Mineski fans all over the world heart attacks at this rate. This is sound like a disappointed dad right now. Just got to relax, play safe, play calm.
Yeah, they just need to keep farming. Don't do anything too risky. Just go for the kills that are secure and just make sure you don't give track kills. And
They
then you're
should have
gonna win.
really waited the Night Stalker Ag Scepter too. That would have just allowed them to pick and choose their fights.
Yeah, he was
so
like
much
halfway
better.
there, you know, at that point.
He was like 500 short. He's only now 350 away. If they have an Ags on Night Stalker, they were feeling threatened because Roche was back up, and they don't want CDEC to take Roche, but CDEC have a terrible Roche lineup.
Even if CDEC takes Roche, they can still make a successful base defense and win the game.
Yes, I
They just
agree.
need to make any risky plays and just wait for the egg. Like we talk about Night Stalker, why he's so strong. Because of the second timing of the hero. The first timing is always